Right, hello, hello, hello. So back here, we're gonna do some build work live here. So welcome to stream there, Meek Raindrops. How are you? How are you? Citrus, what's going on? Citrus. So do a little bit of work here and there on different stuff. So let's actually work on the. Let's work on the what do you call it? I want to work on the container handler for Triton. Trying to get Triton set up so that I can run it in career build series without having to use any of the cheats. So I want to get that going. We're getting close, but it's not quite there. So, need to check electricity on this. I made some notes. As you can see, no electricity connected to this, so that would be why this was not functioning properly yesterday. So that would be it. We'll just hook this up. And then this will work. So, pretty simple, pretty simple there. Let's see, do we have a... Here's the microcontrol. I'm trying to see, I might make this a little bit more robust, but, you know, I was talking about yesterday how, you know, you can't have two immovable objects, you know. I kind of went a little rant yesterday about how people, you know, they'll blame the game for their own engineering issues or just not understanding how the game works, which is understandable. There's a lot to learn there, but, you know, one of the things is, in a lot of games, you don't want two immovable objects. If two things cannot move and you then try to make them move, bad things are going to happen. And so one of the things that I try to do is, if one side's going to be hard and solid, for example, like we were doing containers yesterday, these connectors are very hard and very solid. They don't want to have much variance at all. They want to be exactly where they need to be. The hard points, on the other hand, can have quite a bit of stretch. So you get like, you know, like, I don't know, a couple blocks stretch on these. So you'll notice if you hit something with this, it will actually kind of like pull off and there'll be a gap here. And the benefit of that is if you have concrete on one side and rubber on the other, the rubber is going to give, it's going to sacrifice. And that way the game won't bug out crazy. You know, it will allow it to kind of flex a little bit. And that gives you, protects you from having issues where something's going to break. So this is pretty flexible. So it's flexible in the tracks system here. It's also flexible in the hard point. So that gives us that level of flexibility we need to not have problems. So this is all plumbed up now. Let's just double check everything else here. All right, so that goes in there. This doesn't need to pass any info through. Let me just double check all of the carriage controls here. I don't know what this is here. That's interesting. All right, so carriage panel, let's see, 8. So I have this set up so that it works with the function system in the crane. So essentially the crane has 8 function nodes, kind of like on the top of your keyboard, F1 through 8. And that way each module will be able to operate with the same function keys. You don't have to, you know, replumb for each thing. You know, they have 8 functions, up to 8 functions. So this one just uses 5 and 6 for extension, retraction, and then it uses 8 for release the connectors. So I need to check right here. What am I doing here? So we have start expansion, release carriage locks. Okay, so how am I doing this? So essentially what's going on here is, I might change the way this works. So essentially what happens is when I press 5, so function 5 key, it's going to go over here. It's going to switch to a 0.10. So it's going to, you know, the linear tracks, you set the speed, so it start extending at a 0.10, and then it will shut it off. When it's shut off, you get a 0. When it's 0, you the carriage locks will be able to lock. So the grippers will grab, essentially. Don't know what this is doing at present. Nothing. So I don't think I needed that. Okay, I have star expansion. This should be port expansion. I don't know why I don't. So let's look. That could be one of the issues. I was having an issue with this, so I need to check this here. So this was allowing me to expand either side. Let me see. Alright, so I'm now expanding both of them at once. That's, I think, the way I want to actually do it, is expand both sides at once. And they should be in opposition. It's kind of hard to see here which direction they're going, because I can't see the arrows. Which one is the actual part here? Right there. So they're right here, so if I delete here, that's the head of it. I'm trying to find the actual... Huh. Oh, they're in there. Okay. So let's back out all the way up. Okay, and then, so they should be over here. So this is them right here. So let's just delete this, make sure they're heading in opposite directions. So that's power that way. That is the other way. Okay, good. So that's good. So those are in the correct orientation. So this should be good to go. Let's save this back up. And so this just needed to be powered, so that is now. How's it going, Rasmus? How's it going, MCFS Gamer? What's going on, guys? I don't know why, but I'm building an 8-wide light boat. Ugh. Even numbers. Don't ever do even numbers. Even numbers are the devil. So originally I was going to make it so you could extend one side or the other, but I'm going to extend both sides. You know, very few applications you're going to want to do that. IRL, for example, if you had a container that was very heavy on one side, you'd want to translate it so that the center of gravity is right under the lift, but, you know, our containers don't have to worry about that. So we'll just verify this saved. It is. Okay, good. So that was something I wanted to work on. And then, so, let's see. Let's head back over here and let's do a little Triton work. So we're pretty good. I forgot to turn on the main breaker last time. That was one of the reasons why I thought more of the electrical stuff was not connected, and it appears it is, so that is good. So, let's see. Triton mast work, I think, was the most recent. It is. So I actually loaded the save from yesterday. I tested out, and it had all 5 containers loaded. They all snapped to Triton, no problem. No explosions, none of that stuff. You know, I talked about yesterday how you want to have at least 2 blocks between your containers, and then these connectors will not want to grab, so they grabbed to the closest ones, which were the ones they were on. So they had no problem connecting all 5 of them, connected up, no problem, so that was good. Good to see. Had an electrical problem with the davits, so I want to check the davits, make sure they're getting powered properly. I think what it is the master needs to be on for davits. So I think we're fine leaving them like they are, actually. All right. So I want to get rid of these buttons on the deck at some point, but they're going to stay on there for now. Let's see what else is going on here. Crane's working pretty well. Didn't have any real issues with crane. Trying to see what else we need to do in here. A couple paint things. We'll kind of just go through, and then as I see stuff, I'll fix it. Let's see, I actually want to color this something different here. Let's do that. Just, you know, oh, okay, you're not symmetrical. There we go. And then that is, it's doing the thing that I love where it, well, I don't like using the bucket. It colors things that I'm not interested in coloring. All right, that's good for now. Let's see, what else? What else do we need on Triton? So Triton, what is this? This here is the crane shackle. Alright, so this is how the crane shackle works. It has a tilt sensor on there, and it just it runs the pivot to make sure that that shackle is always essentially pointing straight down. So, you know, you could put make it free floating, but the issues with that is it will swing more. So this is kind of does dampening and swing prevention. So that is why that is there. So that will move there. Bingo. Good. Trying to clean it up a little bit. I don't want extraneous blocks here and there. Let's see what else we need on Triton. Electrical's kind of a pain a little bit to see what we need. What are you? You are exhaust pump. Alright, so this is all my exhaust system. So start trying to button this up. I don't like having a ton of microcontrols hanging off of stuff when I'm actually trying to make videos. So we'll kind of clean that up. That's good. What are you? You are nothing, it appears. Are you nothing? You look to be nothing. I think that was the symmetry of the other one. Yep, that's good. So that one can be deleted. Alright, so that's pretty good. Let's see what else we need. A couple paint in here and there that I saw the other day, yesterday. There we go. Alright, that's good. Alright, we could use some more gauging on there, but we'll do it. What do you do? What do you do? Anything? Nothing? Nothing, probably. It's probably another just symmetry artifact. Yep, okay. And we need to make sure that we don't delete the other side. All right, you are, what are you doing here, guy? You are doing the monitors, so this can just go, oh, come on, give me you. This can just go down underneath here, so that's just monitor position, so that they tilt out. All right, so that's a little bit cleaner. This I don't mind right in here so far. What are you? You're just the number for that. Let's actually move you down. Let's get rid of you too. Put a block in there. But one of the reasons I have all these micro drills so close to the bridge is I don't want the lines going all the way across when I'm trying to work on this. So it kind of keeps all the logic, like all this logic is just shooting right here instead of shooting from all the way somewhere else. So I kind of put them there. There we go. All right, good. So helm station's in. That's good. This one's been annoying me for a while. This paint issue there. Any more down here? I don't think so. Alright, so that's pretty good. I think we're pretty cool on a lot of the stuff that this needs. I'll have to test further, but I'll get in the career build series and we'll see where it needs to be. Alright, so we could probably add the ballast system in here. Oh, I wanted to fix something on the ballast system. I recall that from yesterday. We have a ballast issue here. So, let's see. These are painted correctly. They're not getting, okay, they're not getting their on signal here, so I need to find that right here. So that is helm systems. And let's go ahead and we'll backlight all these. That way I don't have to worry about them later. I'll check chat in a second. And I'm just going to hit these so they don't light up until I want them to light up, and then I'll give them a color. So we have mast systems in there. I think the mast is backwards, so I need to work on that. This is working fine. All this stuff was working fine. We had an issue with starboard bow, I think. So I think starboard bow was not working correctly yesterday. So starboard bow. So if you look at our numbers here, this is what my ballast tanks look like. 42,000 for each bow ballast tank. So 84,000 total in the bow, and then we have another 64,000 in the stern. So, quite a bit of water. All right, let me catch up with some chat here. How's it going, Rasmus? What's going on? How's it going there, Thermite? I'm currently working on just trying to get Triton wrapped up to the point where I don't need any sort of cheats or whatnot, so that when I use them in the career build series, it is you know, I don't have to turn on infinite electric or any of that nonsense. And so I want to kind of get Triton tuned up. It's such a large enterprise going through a big ship. And, you know, I quoted that the guy from yesterday who does that channel I like, who does the builds out in the woods. And, you know, he talks about when you start getting bored or frustrated or stressed out with something, move on to something else. And then later, when you get reinterested in that thing, you know, you'll be much more efficient. And so that's kind of my thing, is I want to work on a little bit here and there and then move on and then come back when I'm feeling interested in it. So I'm trying to get this just to the point where I don't have to use any of those cheats to get us rocking and rolling in Triton. So I'm kind of going through and checking everything. So starboard ballast was screwy, so let's fix that. Let's finish up with a little bit of chat. Yep, getting Triton ready. How's it going, Exorus? What's happening? What's happening? No, slow speed is fine. You know, I'm not a speed demon, so Mountain View is asking if a slow speed will cause, you know, any sort of, I would assume any sort of, you know, lowering in points. I'm actually, I tend to go more for realism anyway, so, you know, it doesn't matter the speed. You know, it's a very short distance for Foxtrot. You're going I'm just going from the dock to the beach, and, you know, the whole point of that is, you know, it's not getting like extensive sea trials, because that's not the main focus. The main focus is the mechanics of the, you know, the system to get the vehicle on the land, and how you choose to decorate the ship. So, you know, and then by having it close there, and I don't have to go very far, it also, you know, again, speed is almost never a category for me anyway. But it doesn't really matter because it's a very short distance. You know, if it goes 5 knots, it doesn't matter. That would be realistic for some boats. So, you know, I don't need fast speed for anything really. So I have no issue with that. Yep, never, you know, with my challenges never work, you know, unless the challenge is for like a race car or speed or something. I very much don't care too much about speed because so many other people, that's all they care about. So I tend to be like, you know, I tend not to care too much about speed. The most important thing to me is the functionality of it. And so like the main functions of this challenge is, you know, to have a good ramp system, to have a, you know, a good looking ship. You know, speed does not factor in this at all. Nobody's gaining or losing any points in speed. So if they think they're going to get some extra credit for going fast, they're not. And you're not going to lose credit for going fast or slow either. It's just not the main point of the challenge. So don't have to worry about that. All right, let's go like this. Bing, bang, boom, like that. I think we'll go like that. We'll kind of make the panels silvery. And then we'll go like that. Okay. So that's good. Let's see. I think we're moseying pretty well. All right, so I keep getting distracted a little bit. Let me finish up with chat, and then I need to do ballast. So. You certainly don't have to give me any money. Don't worry about that, FS Gamer. You know, I certainly appreciate it, but certainly don't feel obligated. I'm doing fine, so don't have to worry about it. Yep, I certainly appreciate it, but you certainly don't have to. Certainly don't have to feel like you have to. You know, I'm doing fine, so I appreciate it though. I really do. I have no clue. Probably unlikely clutch. You know, this is like, this ship will take years to finish. You know, and I don't upload everything. Some things I keep behind. So. You know, one thing I was thinking of doing, and you know, one thing I was thinking of doing is kind of for a live stream series, doing like a build commission, like, you know, kind of take a poll, see what you guys would like me to build. It'd be something on the simple end, and then I'll upload it to the workshop, you know, but that'll be something simpler. I'm not gonna do something super crazy because, you know, one of the things is I have to be interested in it too to want to do it. So it's like, you know, I'll curate it. You know, you're not gonna get me to build anything, but, you know, I'll kind of, out of people's suggestions, I'll build something and stick it on. But that's something I'd like to do at some point. Yep, yeah, speed's not a huge thing to me. You know, I have patience. I tend to, you know, kind of the way I do my gameplay is if I'm gonna be hyper engaged, like say I'm driving around the race car for Big Man's Challenge, that's hyper engaged time. You know, I constantly need to be operating, and that's hyper engaged time. And then, for example, if I put Triton on autopilot, that's good time for me to go do chores around the house or something. You know, so I kind of the different game balance. Like some people always look at it like, you know, oh, if you have to go do something, you know, there was something a lot of people talked about simulator games. They said if you have to go do something else, it's bad gameplay. And so that was kind of talking about, let's say, oh, here's the issue right here. You know, they're essentially talking about, like, say I used to play, what the hell is it called? Elite Dangerous. And so I love Elite Dangerous. It's like Euro Truck or American Truck Sim. And the thing with Elite Dangerous is, you know, you kind of sit there and watch a YouTube as you just kind of jump into your next point, to your next point, to your next point. Or like somebody playing Euro Truck or American Truck, they're driving, they're kind of chilling out, and they're listening to YouTube or radio. And it's like, you know, for professions, I've had very much machine operating sitting professions where you go and you sit and, you know, you pretty much, you know, even if you're not on technically autopilot, your brain's on autopilot as you're driving or flying an airplane, or you're driving a truck or flying an airplane, and you get to listen to podcasts and books on tape, and it's very relaxing. And so a lot of people gravitate towards that. Other people don't want to. So for me, I like having some of my builds are very engaging. I always have to be doing something. Other times I'm like, you know what I want to do? I need to do a load of laundry. If I can't go and drive my big man car, you know, and do a race if I'm trying to also do the laundry. But what I can do is I can put Triton on autopilot to go down and get some containers, and I can do a load of laundry. And then I come back. It allows you to play a game while you're doing some IRL stuff. And so that is actually very freeing, and that's why a lot of people do like that type of thing is, oh, I need to do laundry today, do the dishes, and I'd also like to play some games, so I can't, I can't play Escape from Tarkov where for 40 minutes I have to be in a raid and hyper-focused, but I could play Stormworks, put a boat on autopilot, and go trade some fuel, or put a train on autopilot. So let's look, port meter. All right, so we need to figure out why one of these panels was not reading, so it's either not reading correctly or it's actually not filling and it's reading correctly and we're not filling right. So I need to check the numbers here. So these are my two panels here, and that is this one and this one. They're daisy chained. That's fine. They're just reads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so they're 1 through 8. That's fine. Let's see where this issue is here. We have an issue somewhere in port, in the port ballast, port starboard. All right, here's port starboard meter right there. It is on channel 3. So I think that's incorrect. I think channel 3 is incorrect. So what's our start channel? 1? Yep. Okay, 1, and it's showing channel 3. I think that's incorrect. Let me check it again. I want to make sure I get this right. All right, so we needed starboard bow. Starboard bow right here. So starboard bow is 6. Let's check that. All right, so starboard bow was the one we were having issues with. That's 6. So 6 is correct. So something is not reading correctly. We need to check it. That one was not reading. All right, where is starboard bow meter? All right, right here. So maybe I didn't prime it with water. I don't know. We have to look. Right. The seawater 0. What are you on for seawater here? Seawater 0. Okay, these are both starting 0, but for some reason this was not filling properly. So we might have an electrical issue here. Power, 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 power. Those are all connected, so that looks integrated. Okay. I'll have to boot it and see why it's doing what it's doing, if I can't figure it out. Where's the ballast? There it is, right there. Alright, so let's see. Altimeters are all working fine. That's desired depth is fine. So it was plugged in. Starboard meter. Starboard bow meter. Okay, that is reading out on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. And what is... Okay. 8 is starboard stern, starboard bow. That's correct. Okay, this looks fine. Let's spawn it and see what this is actually reading. Let's see what's wrong with it. So it was not reading correctly yesterday. So. Yeah, that's neat to have a gas generator that uses the excess heat. Does some steam. Yeah, I like some realistic speeds. Very rarely do I, like sometimes with some of my ships, I'll go say 20% more. So like say a tugboat. The tugboat is like gonna do 12 knots. I might do 18 knots, but that's it. You know, I have the patience to kind of sit and enjoy it. I enjoy it. Like some people just don't enjoy that. And so it makes sense, you know. If you don't enjoy sitting there and kind of, a lot of people don't enjoy operating the vehicle, and that's a big part of the game. And you know, it's fine if they don't like that, but that's part of, you know, part of the calculation. Yeah, it's like, you know, kind of my aside there with talking about how some people say, oh, if you have to leave the game or if you have to get enjoyment in the game from something else, there's something wrong with the game. No, it's just a different type of gameplay. It's perfectly fine if that's what somebody enjoys. So it's like, my favorite thing about being a professional driver was I listened to at least one book a week. I would listen to like 20 podcasts a week. It was awesome. You know, because you're sitting driving down the road, you're paying attention to the road, but you can listen to a podcast or a book on tape. You can listen to some cool new music, and that is awesome. You know, and it's the same thing for games. There's actually a really cool... So this is still not working. There was a really cool add-on for VR, for Vive, and it was called OVR Drop, and it was really cool. I'll see if I can bring it up here. So OVR Drop was awesome, man. Let's see if I can find it. It was thing somebody made. You know, it's not official. Let me bring it up. So this is really cool. So what you could do with some awesome stuff is you can overlay your screens in the game when you're in VR. And this becomes important in VR because, you know, you'd have to lift up your headset, breaking the immersion to see your monitors. And so what you can do here is you can actually make a monitor in the game. And so what I used to do is when I would play Elite Dangerous, I would bring up a YouTube monitor, and I could see the monitors on my computer. And like one thing you do a lot in Elite Dangerous is you do cargo trading, which was what I like the most. And so you'd bring up websites and you would look up different cargo runs. And so what I would do is instead of breaking the immersion and leaving the game, I would bring up, it would be like this. It would actually be on the, you could set it so it was on the back of your controller. And so you'd play with joystick, keyboard, and then you could pick up your Vive controller, and when you turn the controller over, you had this screen on the back that was showing your monitor. And so you could turn this over, and then you could look and see, okay, I need to go from this space station to this space station to buy this, and then trade this. And it was really cool because you never had to break the immersion of being in VR for that. And then you could pin one of these onto somewhere in the cockpit, and so you'd pin it somewhere in the cockpit like it was a TV screen, and I'd watch YouTubes while I was flying. You know, so, you know, it's the same thing. It's like just because, you know, you may not like something doesn't mean it's wrong, you know, and that was like, you know, for a lot of people that is gameplay. You know, the people I was talking about, you know, they would poo-poo that as that's not proper gameplay, and it's like, yeah, that's great gameplay, and I love. You know, if I take Triton out and I need to sit for 15 minutes while it goes somewhere, I'll watch a couple of videos I've been waiting to watch that I've been looking forward to. And so I can both play the game and watch some videos. Why is the starboard meter just not behaving itself here? All right, starboard meter right there. Let's see. I want to make sure all the pumps are connected properly. It might just not. So they start empty and then it pumps in. I want to make sure these are being pumped correctly too. So the pumps are, let's look. So this is the water tank. Why do I have an extra one here too? So that is seawater. That is the meter. What is, oh, it's a physics flutter up above that. That's a physics flutter. Okay. There's fluid level. That's reading fine. Okay. Yep, that is a physics flutter in as well. So this is the same. And then we have the two pumps. We have outflow, because the outflow has to go up. Where's it going? Okay, what are you? What the hell is this? Okay, this is going... What is that, man? I figure this out. Okay, they're next to each other. One's fuel, one's water, so I have to kind of check it. So this is, water is going up, and it's going all the way up here because you want to vent your water above the water line or at the water line, or else you're going to be fighting the water pressure. So that is the outflow. Okay, so that's outflow. That's going the correct direction. That's inflow. Inflow is not hooked to anything. That will be why this is having problems right here. Okay. That's supposed to have it. That's a symmetry mistake. You see that one's already there. I forgot to put the fluid port on there. So that would do it. So that diagnoses that issue that we're having. That was actually really easy. So that was good. Alright, so that's good. That is done. Let's read some chat while we're at it. Yeah, so I really like the realistic speeds. I think it's better that way. You know, for me, you know, and some people are in a rush and they want a big ship that'll go 10 knots to go 60 knots. I get it, just not for me, you know. Yep, you zone out quite a bit driving, and I've heard some of the stuff about it, like, you know, you're still paying attention, it's just you're not making the memories. So you are paying attention sometimes, but you're just, you know, because of your focus or the way you're focusing, it's just not writing the memories, so you don't remember that you're paying attention, but at the time you were, you know. Ah, the old moped. Very cool. All right, good. So we're caught up with chat, so that's good. Just did some paint. Fixed the ballast, so that was on the to-do list. Let's check some more to-do list from yesterday. So, fixed crane attachment, that's done. That was just electrical, gen electric. Let's give this a quick spawn, and I'm going to fire up the systems in the proper order. I was forgetting how to start up Triton properly, and that was not helpful. So you can see how these work. They just kind of... this little transponder I was talking yesterday, it has one way. It can either go left or it can go right, but you put that there, it only can go right, and then eventually it grabs it. So, pretty simple. So, to start Triton up, we have to go down into a burning ring of fire. Down, down, down. Alright, we'll come in here. Alright, so first thing we actually have to do is go to the breaker room. I forgot this yesterday. Go to main power on. Okay, let's make sure that infinite electricity is off. Main power is on. Starboard battery banks, gens, harbor gen, and master systems are all on. Alright, so now Triton is fired up. I just want to check all the systems. So we're going to run a couple electrical things, see if I can't get those harbor gens to kick on. We're having some electrical issue. I want to make sure that that is resolved. And it's probably the main breaker. No, it's not right, so... All systems are on. We won't bother with the engines right now. We don't really need them to give us electricity. Okay, so this here, I can't push my button, so this needs electricity. So something's up with the electricity on this panel. Okay, it's good to know. This is now showing water, so that is fixed. Okay, good. So I need to check the electricity on this panel. I'll probably take a break from Triton at some point, build something else, but... Nice to go back and forth. Alright, yeah, so this is just all funky in here. Funky, 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 funky. I moved a lot of stuff around, and I never reconnected stuff, so that's good. That is on the hot bus. So this shouldn't be on the hot bus. This should be on this bus, essentially, here. So that's when I turn the systems. This will automatically turn it when I... What is that? Okay, all of these pivots are on the hot bus, so it just puts everything in the right orientation. And then these are powered when I actually fire it up. So that's good. Okay, good, 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 good. So that's better. So it's very complicated, this, and I like this complex stuff. I like having a startup procedure. It also tailors your gameplay. So for example, like I don't despawn the ship very often. It's a long, laborious process, and that keeps you in game. You know, we used to have cold starts for airplanes and hot starts. Cold starts were essentially if that was the first startup of the day. And it didn't mean startup like starting the engine. It just meant like powering up the airplane. And so you had to go through more things because it was sitting there idle all night. And then you would, a hot start would be, a crew just jumped out to go to the hotel and now you were taking over. And they, and so the plane was mostly powered up correctly. You just had to quickly go through some systems, So I have the same type of thing with Triton is if I leave it in the world, it's pretty much in a hot start situation. The harbor generators always stay on. They kick themselves on and off whenever they need to, and then most of the time they're fine. So tilt mast up and down or backwards, those need to be fixed. I'm just trying to get some lights on. Just turning on things that will use up electricity. So the fire nozzles use up a lot of electricity. So I put those on just to get a little electricity going. And then I'm gonna power them up so that they're using up as much electricity as I can get them to use. There we go. So those are going, eating up electricity. The davits still are not behaving themselves, so those need to be on the hot bus, I think. The davits need to be hot bus powered, so we'll put that on my list of things to check. So davits. Alright, some chat. Let's read some chat. How do aircraft calculate the solution to intercept a particular course to a waypoint Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, we just heard the harbor gen start on. To intercept a course to a particular waypoint. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad you appreciate the tutorial. Thank you for the kind words. I'll go ahead and as this, so this is going to sit idle for a minute. I'm just checking the, make sure those harbor generators we just heard turn on, regen the system. So I will answer this question as we go in. So we'll look at the bearing panel. This is on the workshop, so you can check this out, and there's a tutorial on the bearing panel. So this is the Stormworks Basics bearing panel tutorial. So essentially what you're looking for a waypoint here is to find a waypoint. Essentially what you're doing is, you're comparing where you want to go to where you are. And so keyboard A and B are your desired locations. So this is your X coordinate, this is your Y coordinate. So that's your desired X, your desired Y. You then take in your actual position that you are, where you currently are. This is where you want to go. This is where you currently are. So this is your X component. And so you're taking keypad A and you're subtracting off your current position. And I'm using a physics sensor, it's channel 1. Then you're taking keypad B, which it's confusing now, but because they changed Y and Z in the physics sensor compared to the GPS sensor. But this is keypad A is going to the X coordinate. Keypad B is going to either the Y if it's on a GPS coordinate or the Z if it's on the physics sensor, which is 3. And you take keypad B, subtract that. So now you're getting those to subtract from one another. So that's essentially, it's finding the distance in meters from, how far are you in meters from your X coordinate, how far are you from your Y coordinate. Then you're putting it in here. And so it's arctangent. So if we go to arctangent right here, arctangent of 2 points, Y and X. So what that's doing is that is giving you the tangent, essentially the line from where you are. It's matching those two up. So you have your X and your Y, so it's giving you that arctangent between your Y and your X coordinate here. So it's taking those two, that's what that is that. And then what we're doing is we're converting it to a readable compass. So I do, people have shown there's other formulas to do this, great. It's awesome. There are other formulas to do this. There's just the one that I use that works. So you can follow this tutorial. It's all in there. Arctangent 2, that will give you the heading on the compass that you need to go to in order to get to that waypoint. So this will say that we're facing 360 north, and in order to get that waypoint, we need to go 090. This will read out 090. Then this part here is your distance to tell you how far it is. So what you're doing is you're taking the same subtract here, where you're getting the distance between your X's, the distance between your Y's. It goes in here. If we look at, I don't think that's trig, is it? No, it's not trig. It's add-on? Yep, it's add-on. Right here is N as len xy. So if we look there, len xy, the length of the vector between X and Y. So that's going to give you a straight line from where you are to where it is. And it's going to be in meters. And then, so for example, I converted here. So again, if that's the distance in meters from where you are to where you want to be, you can then multiply it to convert it to whatever you want. So for example, 1 meter is 0.000621371 statute miles, or 0.000539957 nautical miles, or 0.001 kilometers, or 1 meter. 1 meter is 1 meter. Kilometer is a thousandth of a meter. And then you can see the differences in nautical miles in there. So that brings you out the distance. So you know you're heading to the point, all right? So let's bring up an airplane that has an autopilot. We'll use the Albatross, the most recent. So Albatross's autopilot essentially takes that system. And so once we know where we want to go, we know the heading that we want to go to. We're going to go in here is, let's find it. That's altitude. Okay, so for me, for an airplane, what I'm doing is I am rolling. That's how you turn an airplane. You don't just kick the rudder and yaw turn. You don't. That's called slipping or skidding. You'd be skidding to try to get into where you're going. You don't do that. You roll an airplane. And then in order to coordinate the roll so that the G-forces are directly under you, you coordinate it with the rudder. So you're rolling the upwing. The wing that is higher wants to go faster than the wing that is lower, which causes you to turn, you know, the direction opposite to the high wing. So whatever your low wing is, the plane wants to turn towards that. And then you coordinate it with rudder. So essentially all I do here is, right here is the bearing micro, which I believe it is right here. So this is that, if you remember the heading I told you, that's called the bearing to your waypoint. So when we take that and we put it into that arc tangent, that formula, this is the number it spits out. So it then comes in here, it goes through, and then we enter in our desired heading if we want to, or we're going to our waypoint. So in this case, I could just have it as a heading hold, but this is going to be going to the waypoint like you asked. So here comes in the waypoint, and the waypoint's going to go in, and it is going to go into x plus 360, x minus 360. And what this is going to do is it's going to help determine, okay, is it shorter? Is it a shorter distance for us to turn left to get to that waypoint, or is it a shorter distance for us to turn right to get to that waypoint? So pretty simply, you think, okay, we're headed north. That waypoint again is at 090. That's directly east. That's only 90 degrees to our right. All right, but it's going to be, you know, 270 degrees to go to if we went to our left. So it says, okay, going to the right is shorter. Whatever is shorter is going to be the direction we turn. And so it then commands the autopilot to go either left or right. And so that comes in here to your PID. And so you're going to get that number in, and it's pretty simple. Let's see where it is. So if we go right here is your finding out which is shorter. So it's going to go in there, and it's going to then feed up here. Where are we at here? I'm trying to see where else. So right here is x minus y. Okay, right here. So x minus y, that's going to figure out, you know, you figure out which is shorter. And then it goes in here and it says, okay, which is greater? Which is the further way you have to turn, left or right? So the answer is we want to turn right. So then if we know we want to turn right, it's going to then feed up here. And this is either saying go left or go right. So it says, okay, go right. It switches it over, go right. And then it comes up into here, and it will, you know, we have where we want to go, what heading. And then it's going to be, this is the compass. So this is the compass heading. So again, our compass heading, we're headed 360. It says turn right, go to 90. And so it will cause the airplane to turn right. So it's going to roll to the right. And then once it starts rolling right, what I do for a lot of my, so you want, like I said, you want to coordinate your rudder in an airplane, so you're actually turning with roll. Now the game doesn't actually give you the turn with roll only, so you need to kick rudder anyway because that will naturally happen IRL, but it doesn't happen in game. So what I do is simple. Let's see if I can find it right. Where the hell are you? It's not that. I'm trying to find the roll. Sensor. There's the roll sensor. Pitch roll sensor. 16. What are you? Trying to find the roll sensor here for yaw. This is the auto yaw factor is what we're talking about here. I'm just trying to find where it's connected here. I see. I might have ported it through something. So what it's doing here is it is giving a formula. What are we talking? C combiner 3. 3 is yaw. So that's going to add your yaw so you can override it. And then it's going to add z times y. So z is your, I just put in a multiplication factor. And then here is going to be your y, which is channel 16 here off of the physics sensor. That is your roll tilt. So what this is doing is, let's say we're roll tilting 0.1. It is multiplying 0.1 by 2.5, right? So 0.1 times 2.5. So you're going to yaw 2.5 times as much as you're rolling, essentially. And that will auto yaw you. So if you find you're yawing too much, you decrease this number. If you find you're yawing not enough, you increase this number. And then eventually you get it tuned in where this looks right. And so as you roll, it will automatically yaw like it would in real life. You know, in a multi-engine airplane, you don't need to kick the rudder. You don't need to coordinate with your foot. You know, pretty much do it automatically. But single engine, you do need to step on the ball. So, hope that was helpful. It is complex. I have yet to do an autopilot tutorial because, as you can see, it's quite in depth. But right, so if we look there, we should see we have smoke coming out of one side. That means one of the harbor gens is on, one is off. So let's go look at them. So I hope that was somewhat coherent and helpful. Yeah, having a cold start on the engine. All right, so it looks like port is running. Let's see, port's up and running. Starboard is up and running, so it must just not be smoking much. But as you can see, both these harbor gens go on, and they just run to maintain the battery. So it essentially, at a certain level, these generators will come on. Like the main engines are not on or turning. They don't produce any electricity. And this is auto-PID so that it will, you know, you can see with the clutch, it's just giving us enough clutch pressure to maintain battery. And it also revs down the engine, so that's what those two harbor gens are doing right now. I just want to make sure we're getting proper power, so let's double check, make sure we're not on infinite electricity. That was an issue I had before that I forgot all about. So let's see. Which one's starting is the question. Okay, starboard starting. Is port doing it too? Nope. Alright, let's see what's up with this one. So no exhaust on this one. AFR is fine. We're not getting any exhaust out. Let's see. I know it's an annoying sound, but quiet it down for a little bit. I'll just read all the data here. 0.9. That's okay. So something is up with the exhaust on this. This is not exhausting properly, so I need to work on that. So I knew one of them was having problems. Starboard is having an exhaust problem here. Okay, right there is exhaust. You know what it probably is? It won't exhaust properly if the engine's not running. So this is probably what my issue is. If you look here, so this exhaust pipe comes up here, and then it goes into a one-way flow valve. Now this should still exhaust fine. I don't know why it's not. I wonder if the pump is off in the stack. Let's check this pump. So there's a final pump here for the exhaust. It should be this one here. I can't fly in here and check the pump, I don't think. See if I can jump. Okay, there we go. Okay, this pump is off. That's what our issue is. Okay, so I need to fix this pump. So that would be the issue. Let's see what's up with that pump. Right here. It's nope, it's got electricity. Okay. Let's see what it's right here. Okay, so this only runs when the engine is running. This should run anytime the engine or the exhaust pump. What is this? Anytime the engine or the harbor generator is going. What are you? Port diesel or okay, so this one I never put one on the starboard side. So this one, anytime the port diesel or the harbor generator are on, the exhaust pipe will come on. So that's the issue. Okay, so let's see. So I just need to duplicate this, so that's fine. That would be the issue. So I remember that from, you know, the last time I used Triton, you know, months and months and months ago. Was I would get a harbor gen that just would go in a start cycle and never stop. So, right. So let's see, where are you going? You're going to engine systems. Oh, cool. Come on, let's not do that. Engine systems, okay. And then harbor gen. So you're running off. Come on, man, stop flicking the camera. What are you? You are exhaust pump. Okay. Exhaust pump. Okay, good. So I just didn't duplicate this when I did it earlier. All right, good. So that should fix that problem. That pump was just not working when the engine was up and running. So when the engine was off, we were not getting the pumps, so it would kill that harbor generator when the engine was off. So that is now fixed, which is nice. Alright, good. So that is fixed. It looked like we had plenty of electricity. That's good. That was an exhaust problem. It was. So what I did to diagnose that was I looked. It was still commanding the modular engine air and fuel manifolds to have the correct numbers. So it was telling it to have the right air and fuel. And the issue was the exhaust was not, I was not getting rid of enough exhaust. So the exhaust choked it out. And then this one was running fine, this one wasn't. So it tells me, okay, they're both identical. They're literally copies of each other. And this one's not running right, this one's running perfectly. Then what is different between the two of them? And you quickly diagnose the problem. So, all right, so that's good there. All right, so yep, so this can pass through. It goes right through here and then up. This adds the this main engine's exhaust out. All right, so that is good. That is fixed. That was something that had been dogging me. Let's do a quick save. I haven't saved it in a while. Triton, CBS 23. All right, and so I want to make these davits hot bus. So these should be powered even if my main power is off, because I don't want them, angling out weird. So those go to davit. Okay, so port davit. Let's check all the davit systems. So this goes to here. All right, and then this goes across to there. Okay, this is all the boat stuff, so that's fine. I don't need to worry about that. This is not plumbed in. That needs to be plumbed in. So this winch needs to go to there. Nope, that's wrong. Okay. This needs to go down to here. Okay. Now you check this side. This one needs to go down to here. Okay. And then I need to redo the davits here. So find our davits. Port davit right here. So we need to find where the port davit plugs into. So port davit's right here. That's plugging into the master. Where's the hot bus? So I need to find the hot bus. So the hot buses go off the batteries here like this. So this is port battery right here. So this one here will go to the port and starboard davits. So port davit goes there now instead. And then the starboard davit goes there, and then we have to pull them off of the off the main bus right there. All right, good. So that is now correct. So this, when I spawn this, both of those should straighten up and fly right. And they should, you'll notice they're raised, they're not leaning out. You see that one's correcting itself and raising. So that now works. Okay, good. So that's the issue with having a complex electrical system, is it's complicated. So I need to check, the actual control panel for the davits, make sure those are plumbed in correctly electricity-wise. Where are they? So right here, this panel here is not to go to this electric pump. So this panel here needs to be hot bus now in order to control that. So we'll go up there. And then this one, same deal. This one should go up to here instead. So now that way I can put those little boats over even if Triton's not powered up. So that was important to do. This thing here needs to be powered. That's powered. Okay, good. We're good there. And then these should at some point be plugged into power. Not that those need it, but I think most of the systems are running pretty well here. So I don't really need these winches anymore here. I don't know if I should take them out or not. Yeah, I don't know. I might keep them. So at some point they need to be plumbed in, but I don't want them like that. But we'll figure this out later for these winches. Those are all just the anchor winches, or not the anchor winches, the winches for the cleats. I think we're pretty good on that. Let's see if there's anything else I want to work on. I want to get on something else for a little bit, but I like to work on this, like I said, in little fits and stops and get a little bit done and then move on from there. Let's go ahead and I don't think I want any backlight on these, so I don't like big bright backlights, so go black those out. All right, this one I definitely don't want any on there. Okay, good. Go ahead and I will save this for now. I think we'll work on something else for a little while. I need to fix this container mover here. I think it's backwards. But I'll work on it later. I'll do a test on it later. Let's go back and work on that that tractor I was working on couple live streams ago. Check some chat while I'm here. How did I build a cargo hold on the deck? Yeah, I'll quickly go bring it back. So it's pretty much just pretty simple on Triton. So the cargo hold is all it is. I have the connectors. So we have 4 connectors on each, and then they double stack on the sides and they single stack there. So it's pretty simple. They the button will release them. So you see the electricity is not connected, but I'll have to do that later. But they're very simple. It's just 4 connectors there, and it sits on the connectors. And then you press the button, and it disconnects them. Pretty simple. Then we'll work on that tractor for a little bit. So here's the cab over. It started working on. So this has that 10-speed chassis that eventually I'll get on the workshop. I think what I'm going to do is, I want to push down the transmission. That was something to do. Let's get this out of there. Citrus was banging his head against the wall, trying to reverse engineer the Mac Pinnacle. So I'm working with one of the chassis, and I'm getting this chassis back to kind of where it needs to go. All right, so this can delete there. So essentially what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to download the chassis, which chassis is pretty much engine, transmission, wheels, frame, and then you would put a cab on the chassis and you're off to the races. And so I've been building some chassis lately so that, people can just download them, and if they want to build a truck but they don't want to build all the systems, they can just do that. It'll be all set up for TTIS and everything, so you don't have to really do all that much. All right, so this gets lowered like so. And then this is the blower here. I'm going to change where the blower comes in. So, all right, so lowered the transmission down. And I'm going to move the blower. So the blower is just the what do you call it? Oh my god, my brain. Turbo. In game it's a supercharger, but it would be a turbo IRL. So I need to find the turbo, where I can connect this turbo. So usually I pull it right off the top of the, right after the engine, but I might, because I don't want to get down geared. Kind of want to keep it up geared, so. It would go there. Let's see if I can go down. I can't really go down. So, can't go down there. I might have to pull it somewhere else, but. That's the turbo connection there. Is it right? Yeah, see it. If it was pushed forward one, we'd be in business. But it isn't, so. So ideally, I would like to go like this, so. And then I want to put a deck plate. So what I might do is put a deck plate on top, and then that's what I'll do. I'll put a deck plate on top, and then this one will just spit out here. Whatever, we'll do doubles like that. All right. That's what we'll do. Put the deck plate on. So the deck plate's what you walk on when you go back there and you work your lines and you hook up your trailer, so. It's going to have a raised deck plate anyway, so that'll be fine. And one nice thing about a truck is you actually want some weight, so you can kind of just leave it as it is with weight. All right, so symmetry will go across for the deck plate like so. Let's see, I'll go in one on the deck plate. And I'll probably end up using... I think I want to do a deck plate. Could use pipes, but I think I might just use either fluid ports or use paint blocks. I'm thinking leaning more towards fluid ports. We'll see how it looks. I think it's going to look fine with fluid ports. We're not going to see underneath them, so that's fine. So there's your deck plate where you'd walk and do your lines. And then we'll trim it. Doesn't need to be that big of a deck plate. Probably there, maybe. Alright, and then I want to do stacks. Get the stacks going. There's the deck plate. Let's check some cheats. I do like, for every one of my big builds especially, I'll do a Google Drive where I write down notes. So I've been writing down notes of where to go next. You know, most of the systems are going in Triton. They're good to go. They're not, you know, I'm not that far behind on it, so it's not a huge deal trying to get that finished up, really. Yeah, I kind of know where I want to go next with it, so it's not too bad, but sometimes I get lost in them, but I try to stay a little bit coherent with it. So let's paint this deck plate. That will help make this look a little bit better. Make it look a little bit more like a deck plate. Look like it's supposed to be there. And then we'll put one here like so. Do a standoff. All right, now we need to put in the exhausts. See what's on that side. Okay, that side is actively the fuel pump, or the fuel going in. I think I screwed up my fuel tanks. I need to fix that too. I think I did screw up my fuel tanks at one point, so I do need to fix those. What the hell? The fuel's going down in here. Get rid of symmetry. I gotta go through and get the fuel redone because I think I screwed that up when I was doing something. So okay, right there. So let's make sure these fuel tanks are good and plumbed. Alright, so here is the fuel valve there. That's good, that's good. What do we got here? It's supposed to have a meter and a spawner. Looks like that's the meter. Okay, that's the meter, and then I think I cut the spawner at one point, so I need to fix that. Let's check the other sides. Okay, that is spawner meter there. This side's different, which is a pain. Okay. The spawner here. Alright, so there's the spawner in this tank. This one's contiguous. Alright, so this tank's fixed. This one comes over and, oh, it's T-valving. Shouldn't be T-ing, it should just be going straight. Alright, and then it comes here. Alright, there is where that goes in. Okay, and then this just needs to continue, so that's fine. I don't know what that's all about. That can go. Alright, so fuel's replumbed in there. I really don't want to touch that steering shaft pipe, or else I'm going to have issues because it's XML'd and it will make other blocks look bigger when I try to screw with them, so I don't want to screw with that too much. What is that all about? What are you all about? They're a bumper extension, bumper piece. Alright. Let's check some chat. How's it going there, Sander? Okay, yeah, all it's doing is it has a door frame, and the door panel is sitting in there, and then there's a seal on it. So when it starts, the seals are activated, and so when it loads in, it just grabs the seal. And then there's a couple pipes there, or a couple blocks, that when you unseal it, it falls and it lands on the corners of the block, so it doesn't fall into the hole. And then you just have to winch it in and out. I'm not sure what the limit of the cats are, but I definitely don't have enough cats on Triton. I need to get more in there and play with it. Eventually you clog sometimes, so you have to be careful. And then I usually use 2. And, you know, so I have some other... You can do deletion by putting a air manifold on there, and it will convert it all into air, and then just delete it. And so sometimes, like, if realistically you would be able to make an exhaust system that would work, and it's just not, sometimes I'll delete it. But, let's see. What do you face an angle, pitch, or whatever sensor to making an active stabilizer? I face it upwards, it didn't work, and I faced it to the bow, and didn't work. I'll look at one of my, I'll see you later, Erasmus. I'll show you one of my stabilizers in a second. All right, good. So this is coming along. I like the deck plate. I don't know how much I like the deck plate. We'll see. You know, it's accurate to have a deck plate on there. We might extend it a little bit. I kind of want a little bit. It looks a little bit short, but I want it where you can still see the drive shaft. That's kind of a fun element, is to be able to see the drive shaft. Like, I like seeing parts of the truck, you know, as you walk around it. So, you know, like, you know, in a real tractor, you look in there, you can see the steering shaft, you can see the engine, you can see all sorts of parts. So. And what do we go there? 1, 2, okay. Just count for, okay, let's try something here. Start working on mirrors. Trying to get a little detail in there. See if I have pipes, XML pipe pieces here. All right, here's a 3 pipe. Actually, I don't need an XML pipe. I just need the XML angle piece. Okay. Just stainless for now, and then we'll go up. Yeah, definitely, like, the seats are too far set back. I need to, like, come up one, but it screws things up if I do that, so I can't really do it. Seats are too set back, frankly. Seats are too far back, but I kind of can't do anything about it, really. Let's go here instead. Keep that in mind. Okay. Play with some stuff here. Let's just see. What are we talking here? 9. Okay. So let's save this really quick. Could do some XML on it. Alright, so we're gonna look for that window. That should be the... Is that the only window in the build now? I think it might be. Window 2x2. Nope, that shouldn't be it. Let's see. Where's the other window? Oh, right here. Okay, Windows 2x2. Okay, that'll be the 1x3. That'll be easy to find. Window 2x2. Where is it? Window... Narrow. That's the one. Okay, let's go... Try 9 there, see if it does it. Okay, that went forward, back. Probably the negative value. Let's try -9 there. If not, it's the other one. That would be it. So that was it there, was the window piece. Alright, so that is the window. Generally, they're split windows, but... what do we have? One. That's the problem, is that it'd have to be midline, so I won't worry about it. So that will go there, that's fine. We'll do one big window there. And then let's try something here. I think I'm putting the post there instead. Might inlay that window the other way. Digging that. Yeah, that's good. See, the seats are just way far set back, but I need it back for the grill. You know, I can't use that dash as my grill, essentially, so I need it. I have a bunch of XML in here and stuff, so I can't really screw with that too much. Can't really... I can almost slide this seat forward. I don't know if I can. It's going to screw up my speed. My speedometer, if I do that. Let's see how bad I can see. Yeah, the grills. This is paint blocks there, so I gotta screw with that. Like to slide them forward one, but we'll see. See what I can do. Can't really do much because I need the grill like it is. It's not terrible, but it is what it is. Let's do a window, 3x3. Yeah, see, this is just like, it should be like right there, technically, but it's like, it's one too far back. That's just funky to me. Put a block here, see if I can actually visually see when I'm driving properly. That might screw me up driving. But, you know, I want it to actually be functional. If it looks great and it doesn't work, I really don't care, you know. I want it to look right. I do it without the window for now. Okay. Like the general shaping's good. Yeah, that's fine with that there. That's good. Yeah, I'm digging that. Okay, that's good. Yep, not too shabby. Feels fine. It just looks a little funky. All right, good. Get some other detailing in there, it'll be fine. Can't slide the seat forward, can I? I doubt it. I highly freaking doubt it. Yeah, see? It's going to delete everything. Yep, okay. Whatever. We don't fret about it, we'll be fine. Some floor blocks in here for the sleeper cab, so it's gonna have a sleeper cab back there. That is the steering column there, so that I should just probably delete, but it is a pain to grab without, get rid of it. Okay. All right, and let's grab a bed. Yep, I need to slide back one. Okay. That's better. Okay. Might drop it down one and put more cabinetry over the top of it. That's probably what I'll do. Come on, man. Ah, you suck so bad. Just put the bed back in. Such pain. Alright. Check chat in a second. What can we go for cabinetry here without... Okay, the bed's going to be a pain for cabinetry, so we'll stick in a couple empty containers here. Those will fit and they'll look like cubbies. That will be good. A couple cubbies usually go above the on the front like that, so you can put stuff in there and CB. Alright, good. That's fleshed out pretty reasonably right now. Alright, let's check some chat. I would use the physics sensor personally for your... I pretty much switch over the physics sensor for stability. That's kind of my whole thing now. Yeah, I just use the physics sensor here for my stability. You can check the stability tutorial out on New Player Career Build Series. Alright, so this here is a directional, so you have a side directional in these usually. Let's get the doors put in. I think doors are what, too high? Doors are too high, so they're right here. And then I want them there. Okay. So grab you. Symmetry's on mercifully. Okay, good. So that's my door there, and then pivot there. All right. there are my doors. I think can we put that on the door, the mirror? Probably not. Figure the mirrors out here, pretty interesting. There are the doors, okay. That's gonna be different, that's gonna be body color. Alright, that's fine. Usually the fire extinguisher is next to the driver's seat. Okay, coming along, coming along. Let's go. That instead. Alright. Starting to shape up pretty well. Let me know if you have any issues with that FS Gamer for stability. I'll take a look if you need it. I think we'll put a right directional there. Worry about the steps for the worry about the steps for this too. I'm gonna do that, but I haven't got to it yet. How to do the steps. The cab overs are pain with how the steps need to be done. So you tend to have to step back here and then up, or they have like a hanging down step that's like, you know, like that or something. It's just kind of silly. It wouldn't be across the wheel, but I'm just kind of like playing with some shapes here. Something like that, you know? Trying to think. Inlay it somewhere, like one thought I had was do this. That looks terrible. Do I have the space to inlay? I do have the space to inlay the steps. So let's try to inlay the steps here. I don't want that much of the engine shown, so I can XML the block in to cover back of the steps up. Let's do that. And I need to XML something that's going to cover these, which is going to be long, 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 which is not great. Could do friggin' HUDs, but I don't want to do HUDs really. Yeah, let's do HUDs. Screw it. Oh, come on. Just deleted my radiator trying to do that. be that much of a pain in the ass. Yeah. Is chosen. What is its problem? It's chosen violence, this HUD. That's not there. Try something back here. That's frustrating. That's funky here, but we can fix that with... Alright, and then we need to XML a block across that so I don't have to look at it. Let's see, what do we got talking here? 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. 7, okay. I doubt I have a 7 block anywhere. Check chat in a sec. No, I do have a 7. Good lordy. Got the block. That makes life easier. Of course, that's the friggin' invisible side I put on there. Nothing's easy. It's gonna go invisible. You suck. The whole reason I'm putting that on there is to cover up the engine. Come on, devs, give us some flat shit for stairs. Drive me nuts. Give us some flat shit for stairs. Let's see what we got for parts. Oh, shit. Cat just fell out of his bed. You alright there, bud? You okay there, bud? You okay there, buds? I know. Looks alright, buddy. You're okay. So I just put ladders on there. It might even look fine. Let's see what we can do here. Don't step on my keyboard, please, sir. Cat stepping on the keyboard. It's okay. It's okay. Your bed just fell. You're fine. Alright, nobody's after you. Alright, you're a good boy. It's okay. It was just your bed fell, honey. I know. It was scary. You're sleeping. And come sit with me. Come here. Come sit with me. There you go. That's good. You're all set. You're okay. Yeah, a nice like decorative pack would be awesome, just to have some parts that we could put places to simulate what we're trying to do. Oh, get out of there, you devil. This might work. I don't know, man. That's not terrible, but I can't paint the back. It's pretty gross. What's this? Sonar noisemaker? These are the struggles to try to find a block that looks reasonable for whatever the hell you're trying to do. Nothing's enormous. Holy mother. That part was huge. Alright, let's figure something out here. Straight pipe there. Come on, dude. I don't like anything for the stairs here. Nothing that's gonna work for right now. We'll work on that later. I'm really not finding anything I like. Just check some chat. For most of my what kind of stability system you try to do, FS Gamer? Is it for like craning? Is it for just regular boat stability? What are you looking for there? I would like to further shorten this, so what I'm going to do is start to cut out. I lost my directional somewhere in the whole friggin' scrum. It's right there. Okay. Is that it? Nope. I lost the directional. I'll have to remake the directional. Whatever. Alright. Get rid of the stairs there because, you know, you don't have the same step you'd have on a regular tractor. Let's see what this one looks like. Try to extend the tanks, I think. And I'll can I shorten this anymore and not make it look weird? Looks pretty good now, lengthwise. It's not too bad. That's one nice thing with the cab over is to shorten the overall length of the tractor. And here's the battery box. Put the batteries right on the frame here. Screw it. put like maybe an angular staircase there. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of them have like a little step here and then another step here. You kind of crawl up and over in the cab over. So I'm going to try to simulate that. Okay, good. I did get a directional here on this side. I can just, there it is, right? Nope, that's it. It's gone there. Okay. Oh, the arrows are the worst thing. They really are. You always grab the wrong frickin' arrow, even though you think your hand's on the right one. This one. There's the one I want. There we go. And then it ends up off into outer space, and you can't find it. That's blind spot directional, so that people in your blind spot know to get the hell out of your blind spot. They love to sit there like it's their job. So bigger tanks, and then we'll try to put in, they usually put an angled step here that then leads up to like another step hole there, so we'll fix that. Oh, okay. You try to get this in here the way I want it. Now I want to make the tanks one shorter too. That's a pain in the ass. Let's see. There we go. Let's start of the step up on either side there, and then we'll put a notch step in here. Alright, and we'll put a handle. That's usually how these cab overs are. They're a pain to get into. You know, a modern tractor, you can just step up. The cab overs are kind of a pain. So it's like progressive steps to get up there into the cab. And then you'll have a handle like right here behind the door. Actually be a tall, it would be a big handle, so we'll go. Like that. Alright. That'll be my step up. Alright, good. blend in a little bit better once we get some, that's good, I like that. A little bit more fuel. Good, 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 good. Let me read some chat. Yep, bunch of feature requests for some, check the dually tutorial, I'll put a link in. So here's the dually tutorial there, Dean. So that gives some more fuel. I have a deck plate on there. I might almost do like a pipe deck plate. Let's try that out. This is just sitting too high for me, and so I'm not really thrilled with it. That will go like that, and then try to do get maybe railing. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the railings of my deck plate, but we'll see how they turn out. That's not bad, actually. I kind of like it. All right. All right, let's do, what do you call it? We need stacks. Do I push this one forward? I think I do. Beautiful. Actually got it on the right first try, which is frickin' shocker. Okay, and we'll put in some X haste here. Look at the right thing, please. Thank you. That was relatively pain-free. Famous last words. Famous last words, definitely, most certainly. Let's see, cut. Alright, starting to come along. Come on, man. Alright, there's the cables. Nice. Yep, liking it. Digging it, digging it, digging it. Good height now. Good drop the height a little bit. Starting to look brutal. As cab over should. Might put an I gotta hear some parts that I forgot to read here and there. Get stuff falling through right here. There we go. Nice. So I think it's coming along well. Oh, really? Beeping sound? Interesting. I didn't hear it. Definitely didn't hear it on my end. Or if the cat was stepping on something when he was... His bed fell off his table. He's fine. He just got scared, so he was coming back, stepping on keyboard and whatnot, so... Might... This is looking like too much of a European bumper and not enough of a 1980s bumper, so I'm trying to think... Not going to work, but we'll see what I can do here. Trying to see if I angle this a little bit. We'll see what happens here. A little angle on that. Yeah, I think that's better. Not as sharp. Alright, let's check T-Tis, wherever that is now. Are you T-Tis? Tractor micro, okay. Let's eat Fuller 10. T-Tis right here. So T-Tis. Light cord. Light cord needs to go to here. These need to go from one to the other. And then this is a dud. This is just where you plug in. So that's the main one right there. So that needs to go. That's T-Tis. Alright, this can go. I replaced that already. Alright, so I think we're... Yeah, we get the panels we need here, so that's fine. Let's take this. So Citrus will probably be happy. The old panels are a little bit... They're very much made just for the Mac Pinnacle. And so they weren't really easily configurable. So this new panel is going to be the new chassis panel, so it's a little bit simpler. And it hooks in a little bit easier to the controller for the transmissions. That'll make it a little bit easier for you to configure. Let's see, I need to find place to hide my controllers. I cut out the radiator at some point, so that's not good. That needs to go back in. There, I think. Yeah, that looks good. All right, and then that needs power, and it needs other stuff. All right, we'll check through everything in a second here. Do radiator power in a second. So we'll go Starter is going there. Starter goes to there. That's good. Alternator. Alternator. Where's my pump? Pump doesn't need electricity, so it's not going to show. What are you? Okay, that's robotic pivot. Doors are going to be... They can hook right to where the robotic pivot does. Alright, that's good. I don't need this anymore as a 1x2, so that's going away as a 1x2. I want that back as a 1x1. Definitely looks more 80s this way than it did with the 1x2. There we go. And then I think I can put the mirror on the door because I'm sitting so far back. That might be a benefit of being able to put the mirror on the door. We'll see. I'll have to screw with it in a second. Now let's get these microcontrollers in. Nice thing is because of we got a lot of floor room in here now, so this should be able to put a bunch of in the floor. Don't worry about tilting the cab later. I want to do it, but it's gonna be a pain in the ass to do. Not too bad, but it's not easy. It's not a walk in the park. I have to screw around with it. But this can go. We got a lot of floor space here for panels. I had to put them all up in the deflector last time. Just go right here, I think. That's the nice thing with the sleeper is the bed hides it. Day cab, it's hard to hide the panels. This goes under the sleeper right there. And what's that, a 4? What's my... This is a... Of course it is a 5. Now where's the back of the bed? So I need to watch for, like, this will obscure it on this side, but it won't obscure it on this side. So I'm gonna be careful. So punch it right there, maybe. Okay. This is the transmission. This has the 10 speed in it. So... I'd like to build a 13 speed. I had a 13 speed, but I want to build a new 13 speed. Okay, I don't think that's hitting my... Okay, that's fine. Let's go right here for now. It's hitting the relay. The relay can move. Okay, that's gonna show. I don't want that to show. Gross. Could almost do it like the back wall, but then it has to be big enough to go over the whole back wall. So I can put this in the floor. I should be able to put this in the floor. This is tough to fit. What are you hitting there? Fire extinguisher? Yeah, that's screwy. No bueno. Alright. Let's find some space. That's a long Johnny there. That's, where are you gonna go? The hell is that? 3 by a million? Something like that. That's a 2. Of course it is. I can almost go... That's a 3 there. How far back would that have to go if I did this? If I were to put you in here, how far back would I have to go with the drive shaft? Quite a bit back. You're gonna be a pain in the ass, aren't you? That's the problem hiding panels now. They just don't want to behave themselves. How big is the engine panel is the question. What's that? That's a 3 by... enormous number. What are you? 3 by 9? 3 by 9. I can't go 3 by 9, so I could do... Try to see if I can rearrange some of these panels too. Because I can make them look like the back of the bed like that. They have to be the same distance to not look weird, so... Good XML piece to cover them too. Nothing's easy here. All right. Let's do this. I don't like it, but we won't see it anyways. That's kind of one of my issues. If I don't like it, I will not put it in there, even though I never see it. So I'm trying to get better at that. It's like when people are like, oh, it's, you know, the underside of my hull looks like crap. It's like, you know, you're never gonna see it. It's frustrating because you're looking at it at the time, but then, you know, later you're never gonna see it. So it doesn't really matter how this looks because IRL, you're never gonna have a or not never, but you're going to have very rarely a tractor that has front-wheel drive of any sort, so it's for the game mechanics, so it doesn't really matter if it's hidden anyway. There we go. Alright, so that fits in there, and that gives me a lot more space. What are you now? That would be where the actual drive shaft needs to connect, so let's try to get a panel in here. Try to get a panel in here, so let's see. It's one of those things, if you're not going to see it, it's a good place to hide stuff, but, you know, you're like, oh, it doesn't belong there or something like I do. It's tough because it's you're never going to see it. Just ignore it and just put it there anyway. You know, move on. But it's tough sometimes, you know, you want it exactly how you want it, and then it bugs you later, and, like, you forget about it. You know you're going to forget about it. Like, I know most of the things that used to bother me in some of my builds, I don't even remember them. But at the time, you're very intimate with the build, and you're like right up against it, and you're like, yeah, it doesn't look right. And you're like, yeah, I'm never going to see that. So it's like, just hide what you need to hide. All right. All right, there we go. So not ideal, but this will hide it up nice. Okay, that goes there. That fits now. Perfect. All right, good. And then this needs to rejoin the drive shaft here. Okay. There we go. All right, so front's reconnected. And what is here now? That is the engine. I need transmission to go in here, so let's find where the transmission's going to go. So I want this part. This part will show, so let me see. What's the transmission looking like? How wide are you? 3 by, what's that? Like 3 by 5. I need a 3 by 5 slot here. Alright, so it should fit here. Alright, it will go right there. Alright, perfect. That's the fifth wheel there. Fifth wheel release. So IRL, what you do is you pull the handle, and then you drive away, and the trailer drops. And then as soon as you pull off the kingpin, it is ready. The jaws are ready to reset. And so you just then back into your next trailer. They could literally be next to each other. And so that's how I have it set up, that you disconnect from your trailer, and then 30 seconds after, I think I have it like set to 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, it will reset. And then you can plug in your next trailer realistically. So yeah, that's a nice feature. I just put that upside down. I can't tell. It's fine. No, that's right. Okay, that's correct. Okay, that's good. We're getting there. So put this physics sensor back in. Let's go give it a test. This thing moving the wrong direction sucks. Put her in the bumper, I think. Right there is good. Okay. Let's go for a little spinny. Check electricity. Electricity's bonked again. I gotta fix it. So. Electricity needs to go through these two. That does power, so this will go there. Directionals will hook into lights when I hook those up. Here's the... which one's battery side? Battery's here. Okay, that's battery. Side is on this side, so this is the power side. Okay. What am I missing here? Engine stuff I had to redo, so that's in there. Alright, so that is starter. Okay, that's plumbed in. So that's all plumbed in again. Transmission's all plumbed in somewhere. That's all good. Okay. That's good. Alright, good. And then these will go to there. I think we're pretty good. I'm going to check some chat. Yeah, 13 would be nice. I'll make it. I might make it today. We'll see. Is my PFP really my cat? I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, okay. You're talking Citrus. This truck space compatible? Yeah, it's not yet. I'm not building any space stuff until it comes out. I don't do that anymore. You get building a building like, oh, none of this is gonna work because I jumped the gun. I don't jump the gun. I wait. How's it going there, Owl? Yep, yeah, it'll be good. There's a lot of good entries for the Challenge Foxtrot. I'm looking forward to it. How old's Sooty? I think he's 5'6", something like that. Found him under the porch as a kitten, and I got a picture the other day of him and when he was tiny, and it was said 5 years ago. So it's probably 5 and change, I'd say. All right, let's spawn. Yeah, I usually connect all the wheels to the motors anyways. It prevents understeer. I'm really liking the shape. Shape came out nice. It was too tall at first. It's starting to like sculpt properly. It looks good. This will be painted, so it won't be as glaring. What this will be is it'll be body color, and then this will be like one shade darker for some shadow in there, so that won't look too bad. All right. Infinite electrics off. Vehicle damage on. Infinite resources off. That can stay on. Infinite fuel is off. All right. So let's see. City horn. I don't have any of the air horn. City horn plugged in. Okay, trolley brake. Tractor. There we go. So this is the 10 speed. I love a cab over. I never get to drive any cab overs. Yeah, I've driven cab over shifters. I've never driven a proper cab over tractor. But it feels good. I love the with a cab over you have a big eyebrow on there. It feels menacing and you're kind of in it. Like, yeah, really good visibility, of course. You don't have the big nose, big doghouse in the front. But I think it's good. I don't think the sitting a little far back, but it's not a pain. So that's one thing I was afraid of that I think is fine. Windows and windshield came up pretty good. It's gonna do that because I'm driving like a maniac anyway, but that's not a big deal. Perfect. All right, good. So that is running the way I want. Let's start banging some other things in here. Okay. So I'm gonna look up Mac cab over for some lights. So one of them, it has it in the grill. That's actually very interesting. It's like the 613 has the lights in the grill, and then it has directionals up top. That is kind of cool. I like that. I actually really do like that. There's a couple of them like that. So I'm digging that. That's kind of cool having them in here. So I'll have to, actually they're right here, so let's do that. And it's, yeah, can't go to the side of it like that. Now let's play. See, I can't really go around it like they do because the frame of this goes around. I'd have to cut it in here. That's too close. Maybe put them here. I don't know. What I'll do is put them here, and then I'll extend the grill down, and I'll use these as paint blocks. That's what I'll do. Okay. So let's do that. Alright, and then what we'll do is... That's not going to work perfectly. I could extend this over. I think that's what I'll do. Extend that over, and then we'll cut the grill in a little bit. So. Alright, yeah, I'll fix that. Okay, so a lot of paint work to do here, but we'll get it done. Yeah. Get it to look right. Kind of have to do this. So. All right, let's start getting these going. Because that's the cab over. One of the main details is the grills. So it's kind of important. Alright, so let's see. We're going to change all these out, and then I'll just copy it over to the other side. So what we'll do is the silver goes around. So we'll go bing, bang, boom. Come on. Draw a straight line to save my life here. There we go. Ah. Get in there, guy. And then this will be body color, so that will get whatever the body color ends up being. And then it wraps just under the lights, and there's, you know, a little bit of a black frame where the plastic would be for the lighting, so that's good. Then we'll go that. Good. So we'll do color swap on that first. That's the new grill. And then it has, what we'll do is we'll put paintable indicators up here. So these need to be swapped out. This is where the directionals are. They're very high. And they're squared. They stick out a little bit. I don't know. I can't really get them in there the way they should be, but we'll work with what we have here. So let's go. The directionals will be up here, and then we want black square around them, make them a little bit oversized. Okay, just go like this to frame them, and then we'll go body color to round them. Maybe we'll strip them a little bit like so. There we go. That's what it will look like, and then we'll start putting it in. They're squared out. Let's square them out. See how it looks when I'm done. Okay. Let's see. Let's go 10 off. Okay. Right, there's the directional. Nice. Look at a couple colors of what people are running these. Yes. Oh, that one's kind of nice. So it's burgundy silver. Let's play with that color. See, it's always nice to get a little color on this sucker. Where's my burgundy? I lost. Is that the burgundy I'm running? Let's run this burgundy silver for a little bit here and see what I think of it. So it's burgundy low. And it goes up to about right here, and then it starts silver up top. So it'll be burgundy, then... And then the silver starts there. All right, let's play with that. I like that color set. It looks cool. Nope, that went up too high. There we go. Okay. And then it goes burgundy again on the roof line. So right at the eyebrow, and this it goes burgundy again, and then silver in between. I really like that. Looks good. All right, and then the real question is which silver? That can't be that silver because it's the silver I'm already using. So I need to see the difference between. Yeah, see that's so faint. That's not gonna work. I'll try my chrome. Chrome works. Okay. And of course I color swapped everything. Get out of there with that devil business. Did I just do it again? No, I didn't. Okay. I'll say. I'll be very annoyed if I keep doing it. Check it in game, see how it looks. I hate the paint bucket, but we're going to use it there. That one's the one I think it won't cause any problems. Paint bucketing there. So, I need to get these doors shut too. I need to do a couple paints behind this door. So, the base of the pivot. Doing that side. There we go. So, let's see. That's base of the pivot, and then I need to go up here. It needs to be silver. So, that's... Okay, that does the doors. And probably just do these as that. Yep, that looks good. Digging that. That color comes out nice. And then this needs to be a silver top layer, so. And then they cut the grill down more, so I think I'm going to end the grill here. Let's do that. Yeah, I think that will be better. There. Yeah. That's better. Of course I grabbed the wrong arrow. Why wouldn't I? Even though I put my cursor clearly on the red one. That the grill on the one I'm looking at goes even lower. I think I'm going to lower that grill just a little bit more too. I think we'll smush the grill down one more. So I want to get burgundy in there as well, so we'll cut this. Can I smush this without screwing up everything? I think so. I'll have to repaint a bunch of it, but whatever. I'll I'll raise it up a hair, but this I want a little burgundy on the surrounding the grill. So we'll go up. I need to check the spacing here on this. So yeah, I screw up the spacing on one of these, so I need to fix it. All right, good. And then this will go burgundy. That's better. That gives better contrast off of that. There we go. Digging that. I'll change this color up a little bit. It's a little bit too white. See how it looks in game? Oh yeah. Look at that. Yeah. Look at the business. Beefy. Beefy. I'm liking that. Alright, I'm catching up with Chad. I've been looking at my reference material. DLC, people were this, the standard complainers are complaining. I would say the excitement is pretty good. I did a live stream when it was revealed. Of course, the people who are watching the live stream are most likely the people who are most excited for the game and are enjoying playing, and so it was a 70-30 split. I did a poll that was asking, who plans on buying the DLC. It was a 70-30 split in favor of buying the DLC. It had something like 323 people vote on the live stream, and then I did another one on just on the YouTube page, and it was, again, it was pretty much identical, 70-30. I don't know how many people voted on that one. I could probably look. So it seems like, it seems like most of the time, most people are planning on buying it. They're excited. It's a 70-30 split, and then you have the 25% who are unhappy, which you're always going to have 25% of anybody who's not happy. And so, I think that's pretty typical and pretty normal, and people are making a big deal of it. I talked a bunch about it yesterday. My thoughts on it's like, chill out. People freaking out. Like, people are legitimately freaking out. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. Stormworks has lost its way. It's, it's a bunch of nonsense. The game's going to be fine. We'll do my predictions. I think a lot of people are going to buy the DLC. I don't know how well it's going to be implemented, but I think a lot of people are going to buy the DLC. It's going to add a lot of engineering things. That is one of the things that keeps you engaged in game, is having things to build and new things to build. If you look at, like, I think I had one of the more popular live streams. I had, like 1,400 views the first day or something, and, I had a lot of people watching at the same time. And, if you compare it to other videos and views for everybody, like I looked at some of the other YouTubers, and it seemed like a lot of people tuned in to watch it. So a lot of people have interest in it, whether they're thrilled or not. A lot of people tuned in to watch. I think a lot of people are interested in it. It's not or ever going to be perfect, of course. I don't think really anybody thinks it's going to be perfect. but it's going to give us a lot of stuff to do, and even if you're not really big into it, you know, I did a write-up, or I'll read my write-up on Reddit today. Somebody put a comment and I responded. I won't read theirs because I don't think that's fair to them, because they're not here to defend themselves. They're actually really good about it. I'm not. They didn't say anything bad, but you know, kind of my thing was, I'll put a couple of my comments and then I'll read out a couple of my comments. I'm not going to show who, you know, who I was responding to, but I'm just reading one of the comments. Yeah, so essentially the sentiment was Stormworks is going into a thing that no one wanted. That is one of the common refrains I keep seeing, and it frankly couldn't be further from the truth. I'm not going to put up the comment. You know, you guys can search for it if you want, but you know, that's been a common refrain. So my response was people not only wanted it, but it was 8 out of 20 options in the poll. Many of the more popular options were already implemented. So I'll bring up the poll again. You know, again, so for the people who say nobody wanted this, they had a poll. Whether it was scientific, whether it was perfect, whether they told enough people is all irrelevant. You know, they had a poll. People answered. That was what they used for the basis of their stuff, for their project. And so this was the poll results. You have nuclear reactors. Number 1, that's already in game. Weapons. Number 2, that's already in the game as a DLC. Sales. The devs said during the live stream that they have tried sales. They couldn't get them working the way they wanted to. They might revisit them. One of the things I would think with sales is, do you want blocky sales or do you want fabric sales? If they have to do fabric sales, that could be a limitation with the engine. That could be very difficult to implement proper fabric physics and make it look good. That would be, I would say that's probably the stumbling block. You know, if you don't care if it looks like a regular block, then yeah, they could probably do sales. People have done it with wing segments. They've already done it, and it works fine. But, you know, if you're going to sell it as a product, if you're going to do it as a major update, you kind of have to make them look right. And so maybe they tried that, and it just didn't work out, and maybe they're going to go back to it. But the other thing, too, is, yes, a lot of people voted for sales, but is sales enough of an update to make a DLC? My thought process would be no. I think sales would be more like a major update. Natural disasters, already in the game. AI, ships, planes, and helicopters, already in the game. Cooperative vehicle building. I think this is a limitation of the engine. The game was not built as a multiplayer game. They built the game, single player. People came by, wanted multiplayer. They said, okay, we'll put in multiplayer. And frankly, it's been kind of a disaster ever since, because a lot of people came in only wanting to play multiplayer, and anytime their internet is not perfect, they blame it on the devs in the game. And there are legitimate, certainly 100% legitimate issues with multiplayer. Again, a multiplayer game needs to be started as a multiplayer game to work well. And to retrofit a game to turn it into multiplayer generally does not come out with a smooth thing. But community asked for it, the devs gave it to them, and they've received a lot of grief since. So cooperative building, I would say, is probably a limitation of the engine. Because, you know, they've designed the game so that you have one person built in there. Potentially they could put it in, but I would say that's probably if it was easy, it would be low-hanging fruit. I think they'd do it, but it's a limitation probably of the engine would be my thought. Arctic ice breaking. You know, a lot of people voted for it. You know, would that be enough for a DLC? Most likely not. Could it be a major? Sure. But they took out the free-floating ice. Now, if you remember, they added free-floating ice that was floating around the Arctic. If you slammed into it, you'd break your ship. You could steer around it. You could gently push it. That was in the game. They took it out because, again, remember, you had people ask for multiplayer. Multiplayer with a game that requires a lot of physics calculations. And one of the things that makes Stormworks live in a single-player game is that as you get further away from an object, it despawns. Well, when you have a multiplayer game and you have somebody up in Tajin, you have somebody down in Sawyer Islands, you have somebody over at Donk, you have somebody down at the arid biome, nothing can despawn, and so what happens? Multiplayer slows to a crawl. That sounds to me one of the reasons why they're changing the way that the despawning system works. Remember, that's coming with the Space DLC. That sounds like they've been listening to the community despite what a lot of the naysayers have been saying this week. That's one of the things that I think will help multiplayer, is the way they're going to start despawning and spawning vehicles. So we'll see. But Arctic ice breaking, they took out all the movable ice because it was causing lag, mostly in multiplayer. It was doing it in single player, but where is it really bad? Multiplayer. And so people said multiplayer is terrible, game sucks. So I would say, if I were to guess, they took that out because that way it cuts the resources down so multiplayer runs more smoothly for people. And look, number 8, we have space. All right, so in, they tried it, they couldn't get it to work right, they might still go back to it. In, possibly not able to be done with the current engine, causing issues with multiplayer most likely, coming in. So this was not something that was not asked for, you know, to define people's commentary. And then you look over here, here's compressed air. So steam engines are in, so this is in. So what's the next 2 on the list here? Space and compressed air. So they answered why this one wasn't in, and they answered why this, well, they've alluded to why this one wasn't in. This one and this one are coming in at the same time. This one you pay for, this one is coming free to you. So next one would be fishing, if they do it in that order. I think fishing would probably actually be better as a major and not a DLC, because really, how much do they need to add for fishing? They could go whole hog on fishing, but I think, you know, they could probably do it in a major. And if you remember, they said they've already planned out the next couple majors. So they've got 2 majors planned out already internally. So if the 2 majors are planned out internally, you know, and they're doing things pretty much in order. Some of these have been majors, some of these have been DLCs. It would not surprise me if fishing comes as a major at some point. Runway lights, you know, okay. You know, decorative components, that would be cool. They have been giving us more components, but, you know, I would love a decorative pass. That would be awesome. But could you make that a DLC? You know, the people who are accusing them of a cash grab, which I don't think any of these DLCs are a cash grab. Cash grab is The Sims 4, you put out a bunch of hats, and you charge $9.99 to put a bunch of hats in The Sims 4. And then guess what happens 2 weeks later? You have a couple of other outfits, and those are $9.99 for The Sims. Go look up EA and The Sims and see how, like, little cosmetic things they put in for DLCs, and they cost more than, or as much as the DLC for this game. You know, so that I think this would cause people to go through the roof if decorative items were a DLC, but that could be put in as major minors. Stormworks already in the game. Component modding, I'm not sure what that's all about. No weapons was negated when they put in the weapons DLC. Pathfinding API, not sure what they would be doing with that. Kraken is in. This one, again, if you look, the crowd who says, none of us want more DLCs, we only want bug fixes. Well, it happens to be out of 20 options, it is the lowest one in the 20 options. So, you know, believe that of what you will. So when you say somebody like, oh, the majority of the people don't want bug fixes, they don't want space. Well, the data that went through, so I'll read my response here. I won't show it because I don't want the other person, I don't want to flame the other person that I was talking to. They were fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with what they said. I'm just I certainly don't want to bring up their commentary without their consent. Let's see. Trying to find. Oh, this. I just have to back up this page. I followed the link. So they were saying, yeah, that was a quite. He said yes, but that was a quite long time ago, and there were still things like sales above it. So I addressed that a little bit with what I just said. And then we have the JS add-on or Stormlink, which made us realize just how much those things would fit and how much we want them. Okay, so that, you know, some valid points there. And so my response to yes, that was quite a long time ago. True. But that is the scale of time of which business works. The poll came out just shy of 3 years ago. It came out October 2020. The devs stated that they have been working on the DLC for years. So the devs said that. This DLC has been years in the making. So you have to think about it on the time scale of a company. They take a poll, and then they lock in and plan what they're going to do. They can't say, oh, well, the community really doesn't want space now. We have to throw away 2 years of work that we've been doing in secret to then do this new thing, this new fad, and I'll put fad in quotes, that the community is now wanting. Because guess what happens in you know, you do another 6 months, and then the community's moved on from that fad. You have to stay the course. You know, and so that's why, you know, I don't really agree with the thing, oh, that poll was a long time ago. So, you know, they asked the community voted. They know it's going to take them years to come out with these DLCs. I guarantee you, Industrial Frontier took years. I think Clara looked up some of their workflows, and they've been working on Industrial Frontier for a long time as well. You know, they work on these things for years. So you need to, you know, it doesn't matter it was a long time ago. It takes years to get these things done. You know, so like I wrote, it takes years to plan and implement the content updates for the game. They asked for input from the community, and the community spoke. They executed the plan. So I pretty much went through all that stuff I just said. So that's kind of, you know, you have some people, you know, I think one of the common refrains is nobody asked for this, nobody wanted this, and it's not true. People asked for it, people wanted it. You know, I think some people need to start talking in the first person. I don't want this. This doesn't appeal to me. That's perfectly fine, and nobody can really argue with that if you say, I don't want space. That's perfectly fine. But to say nobody wanted space, again, I can show you with the poll right there. I can show you all the happy people. Yeah, you know, use your own self and say, I don't want this. You know, this doesn't appeal to me, and that's perfectly valid. If they hear a lot of that, maybe they say, okay, well, this isn't the most popular thing, but a lot of people want this. So that's kind of, I hope that answers some of it. Let's see. I was trying to find where I was on that. Yeah, so, you know, some of the people were guessing that was going to be the DLC, but again, it's pretty well received by the normal people. I won't say it that way. It's pretty well received by the people who play and enjoy the game. People who are playing and building and posting their stuff on Discord are generally happy. You're already seeing the workshop. People are building space stuff. People are talking about space stuff. It is on people's tongues. It seems like most people are excited. You already have people 6 weeks out from the DLC already building space stuff. I think it's going to be well received. Will it be bug-free? No. There is no game ever in the history of the world that's been released bug-free, so take that out of the equation. Will it be well implemented? We don't know. We'll see. Is it worth $10? I would say, even at this point, I'd say probably, because like I said, that's lunch. Would I be willing to spend, you know, $10? I bought pizza on Saturday for $20, you know, so it's like, you know, will I spend $10 for this? Yeah. Do I think, am I going to get $10 of enjoyment out of it? Yeah. You know, can you buy the DLC on Steam, play for, you know, one hour and 59 minutes, and if you don't like it, return it? Yep. And if you played for more than that, you just got entertainment for $5 an hour, which is pretty cheap. So that's my comment to Owl there on kind of what's going on with the community. Again, Reddit's full of negativity. There are a lot of people like, I don't understand the negativity. Reddit tends to be negative. That's what Reddit does. Steam tends to be negative. The Discords all seem to be pretty good, you know, and happy and enjoying the game. So it's kind of, you know, you go to the negative communities, people are being negative about it. You go to the positive communities, people are being positive about it. You know, that's kind of the way of it, you know. Yep. You know, and that's how, like, for example, you know, that space wasn't my #1 desire, but does it pick my pocket? No. And again, I think people need to take a breath and say, listen, even if you're not, like, for example, let's say I didn't want space at all. I will probably use space, but I will not be doing a ton of space stuff, probably. That would be my guess. But guess what comes with it? The pressurization update. I'm going to love me some pressurization update. You know what else comes with it? As you gain altitude, because of adding space, the air is going to thin. You're going to produce less lift as you would in real life. Your engines are going to be taking in less oxygen, meaning you need to supercharge your engines or run turbines to be able to go up to high altitude. That's awesome. You know, and potentially we may have to pump oxygen into our airplanes if the air gets thin enough and there's not enough oxygen like you do in real life. That's going to be awesome to me. So even if I didn't care about space, so they're giving all the pressurization stuff to everybody for free. So when, you know, one of the common refrains I keep hearing, which I think is nonsense, is it's a cash grab. It's not a cash grab. Is they're giving away a ton of stuff for free. There is a way that bad marketing that happens. You know, I'll use my nemesis of Star Citizen as a perfect example. Cloud Imperium Games knows that this ship is not going to be out for years, but they market it as though the ship is coming out soon, quote unquote soon, and they say this ship can do everything better than every other ship. That's one of their marketing techniques. And then they hold a sale, and by sale I don't mean it's discounted, I mean they allow you to buy it, because they don't allow you to buy stuff all the time, because they want you to have FOMO. And, oh no, if I don't buy it now, it's going to go up in price. And if I don't buy it now, I'm going to miss my opportunity. And so I have to get it now. And so people buy an overpriced JPEG that will not be in the game for a decade, as I have. And that is scummy cash grab. You can't talk about this in a vacuum. Asking $10 and then giving us 50% of the benefit of the DLC without even having to buy the DLC, pressurization, new vehicle updates for the way the vehicle systems work, all for free. And then if you want to buy the space DLC, which this one's very segregated. It's not like the arid biome where it's just a couple kilometers to the south of Sawyer and now you're missing it. If you literally don't ever want to leave the planet and just play the game like it's been, yeah, don't buy the space DLC. You're still getting pressurization, you're getting all this stuff, so that's kind of like, some of these comments I think are just a little bit breathless tantrums, but, let's see, dog chase a cat, jumps into a heli, and when the heli lands, the dog is still there. Interesting. Massive grill. Yep, they had pretty big grills back then. I'll show you the reference material here that I'm using. This one I'm liking. This is the grill I'm currently looking at, so as we can see there, you can kind of see that's what we're comparing it to. This is the burgundy truck I was looking at. So we've got a little bit of burgundy above the grill, and then we have the gray stripe going in. So it's pretty normal. They had big grills. Tractors have big grills. Big radiators, a lot of cooling. So that's about on size now, right there. So to what it should be. It was tall last time. The vehicle was taller, and then I dropped the roof, so that helped to shrink it a little bit. Let's see where we at. I'm catching back up. Doing stories, I see. I'm just trying to catch up with chat. I'm just trying to catch up to where I was. The chat moves every once in a while. I see the stories. I'm trying to stay out of the sad stories. I don't like sad animal stories. What is... Okay. That one's not a question to me. Yeah, 70% is still a good margin. You don't need much profit margin. 70% of the people go and buy it. I'm going to make another prediction with this. There are a lot of people who have no interest in building trucks and building boats and building land vehicles. I talked about it, I'll probably missed it, but like I did my bubbles thing yesterday. So essentially, you have a super small niche game as it is, and then you further subdivide it into search and rescue. You've got a bunch of people, Stormworks lost its way. It's supposed to be a search and rescue game. No. It started as a search and rescue game, but that was not the genre. It was not a search and rescue genre. There are search and rescue games. There were old-time search and rescue games where, guess what? You don't get to build a boat. There's a boat. And it's a small little dinghy, and you start your search and rescue company, and you get in the dinghy, and you go out, and you rescue. And then as you get money, you get the medium boat, and then you get the large boat. And the games were cheap, and they never got updates. Why? Because it's an incredibly tiny audience that wants to play that. The area where Stormworks is a golden nugget. The thing that is important about Stormworks is that it is the best building game there is. It is an excellent vehicle builder game, and because of that, people will come and play it. And even if you tell them, hey, you can't have weapons, guess what they did? Build weapons. You know, before Weapons DLC came out, people built World War II this and that, and they built weapons, and they were throwing blocks against other people's blocks and pretending they exploded because they didn't have weapons. You know, people are going to build what they want in a building game. And so, as a business, you can say, okay, there are people who have no interest in not shooting at each other, and so they voted for Weapons DLC. We bring that in, and guess what? The people who love Weapons DLC support the game that I play and the type of gameplay that I play. So thank you to them, you know. And the same thing with like space. Even if you're not interested in space, there are a bunch of people who play Space Engineers. Like I used to play Space Engineers. I'll never go back because the building system was too simplistic for me. I couldn't really make the craft behave how I wanted. I couldn't make it operate the way I wanted. You know, it was too simple to me, and I like this building better, and I won't ever go back to those games. Like even Kerbal. I love Kerbal. Like Kerbal 2 is in a bad place, but like you know, you could say, oh, I'll go back to Kerbal 1, but the building does not interest me in Kerbal 1 anymore, you know, because I'd rather have the building in Stormworks. And so by adding the space component, there are going to be a bunch of people who play these space games who are fed up with Kerbal 2, who, like, they like orbital mechanics, maybe they don't like orbital mechanics, but what they do love is building a craft. And so what they'll do is come over here and like, I love space, I love building craft. Oh, now I can play this game with excellent building and build craft that goes in space. So I think there are a lot of people who have never played this game before who will come and play it for just the space content. And what does that mean? They're going to buy the game for $24, the main game, and they're going to buy the space DLC for $10. And so that's new revenue of $35 to keep the company alive that makes the game that we love. And so that is awesome. We should welcome those people in because guess what? If the money comes from them, it doesn't have to come from us. We don't have to pay for it. And so that's what some people are missing is like that supports all of our gameplay when they come in as well and do their gameplay. So I think it's going to be positive overall. So I think a lot of new players are going to come in. Who knows if it's going to be great or not, but is it going to be worth $10? I would say yes. You know, and so like I was saying, 70% is a very good margin. Like, I'll see if I can see my poll that's up. Let's see, where is it? I don't know how to look at my polls. Let me look. Check the post, see if it has a link to the poll. I put a poll. Okay, here it is. So here's the poll 3 days ago. All right. It has 181 votes. 72% said that they will be buying Space DLC. 28% said they will not. Okay. That is a 72, you know, about 70-30. Let's say we'll even give them benefit out 70-30. I ran a poll during the DLC live stream that was about the same. You know, it was a little over 70. It was in favor of 70, but it was about 70-30. That's a great margin, you know, and that's all you need. You know, how often can you, you know, get 75% or 70% of the people say, hey, I'm going to buy another, you know, I'm going to buy your next product, you know, so that's pretty good. And that's all they need. They don't need 90. They're never going to get 90, right? You know, you figure how many people don't ever build a single thing in this game. They watch one of their favorite creators who, you know, sinks a Titanic, so they go out on the workshop and get a Titanic, and that's all they care to do, and that's fine. And, you know, are they going to really care about a new building component? No, probably not. You know, and so you might never get them with new DLCs, right? They don't care about that or whatever, and so you figure that's 5%. And then you have 10% who are these, you know, so let's say 5% search and rescue diehards who will only ever touch that. You know, there's another 5% that won't get it, and that 25% fills up, and then the vast majority of people will probably enjoy the DLC. You know, so I think it's a really good margin for that. Stormworks is the dogs. Yep. Yep. FS Gamer was asking what the Stormworks were. Stormworks are the dogs. Yeah, space and fishing were really close in the voting. And again, somebody made the comment on Steam was like, they're doing them in pretty much in order. And like, some of them might be more popular or less popular and got done first, but they're easier. So like Kraken was on that list. Like personally, I have no interest in the Kraken. I don't think I've ever seen the Kraken. I don't care to ever see the Kraken. I really don't care about the Kraken. But people voted for it, so I'm happy that they got what they wanted. And it was certainly not going to be a DLC because it's a tiny little addition. I don't think it wasn't a major. It was a minor update. They got the Kraken. So, why did they knock the Kraken out? They said, okay, we're working behind the scenes on Industrial Frontier and weapons. Okay, can we throw a Kraken in? Yeah, let's throw a Kraken in. We need some stuff for miners. We need some stuff for majors. And they say, okay, fishing is a major. Let's say fishing's a major. Okay. They've already said they were planning their next 2 majors, so maybe they said to themselves, they said, okay, space is definitely our DLC we've been working on for years, and then we're going to have a major update in the beginning of 24. We're going to have 2 in 24 we plan on, so one of them is going to be fishing, one of them is going to be sales. Let's say that is their internal plan, okay? So if that's their internal plan, right, we don't know that, and we don't need to know that, and we're not going to know that, and... so some of the people who are getting upset, it's like, it's a little premature. Is that very well could be their plan for the major is get space out, DLC, and then out comes the major in 24. I think they might even have another major due this year. And boom, it's fishing. It's like, they've been adding a lot of animals. I don't think that's by mistake. It wouldn't surprise me if they have a fishing and like farming together because, how much is there to fishing, really? I don't think they can add fishing rods. I don't think that makes any sense. I think because you're going to have to add a new mechanic to the game of how to throw out a fishing rod. That doesn't make much sense. How many people are actually going to go out there and sit with a fishing rod and throw it out there? I think what's more likely is you put a pot in the water, which is a hopper, right? And it looks like a cage. And over time, the fish we know that are out there, it spawns a new skybox or whatever you want to call it inside the cage so it looks full. And then you pull the pot out of the water, and there is a door in the pot. You open the door, and guess what falls out? The physicalized fish they already put in game, and you drop them into another hopper. Some fall on the deck of your ship because it's swinging, and so you can pick them up with your hand like you already can, and you throw them in the hopper, which is already a system we have. And so is that worth the DLC? Is that enough for a DLC? Who knows? So I think, they have their plans. We have no right to see them. We're not their shareholders. We're customers, and I think you're gonna have to understand that as well. Yep, Blue, I think, is getting busy after that. That's something Blue would want to do. Exactly. That's where I highly recommend if you see some negative comments. It's not always, but you'll often see some negative comments on Steam. Steam's one of the more negative places. And if you right-click and see how many hours they have in the game, there's a lot of 10s in there. Like, I have 10 hours, and... I kind of, it may not be correct, but I come up with a narrative in my head. Why is this person upset? And you say, okay, well, listen, they didn't read or didn't understand what this game was about, and they spent money on it. And it always sucks when you waste money. I think we all can agree with that. It sucks when you spend money on something, right? And you didn't enjoy it. And so, I have still not done I've still not done my review of Stormworks. I've actually been wanting to do it with all this spree of negativity, is do a long video review of Stormworks because of all of this nonsense. And so, often when you're pleased with a product, you don't go and do a review. Yep, product worked, liked product. Very few people do that. Generally, when people do a review is when they're pissed off. When their dishwasher arrived and it was broken, they put out a review. Dishwasher arrived, it was broken, I'm pissed off. So that's when people like to go to reviews, is when they're pissed off. And so a lot of that negativity, I think, is they went and they spent money on the game. They watched their favorite YouTuber, or they they had their own preconceived notions. They didn't know what the game was actually about, and then because it wasn't exactly what they thought it was going to be, they got pissed. They don't like it, and they got pissed that they spent the money on it, and it makes sense, And so they write a shitty review or they come and rant. And so when you see somebody with 10 hours, I think that's often what happened was, they spent money on it, they didn't enjoy it, and they're trying to get their money's worth by going to where they think either A, the devs will see it and they'll hurt their fifis, or B, some other player who's thinking of buying the game will see it and they'll get their $10 back or their $25 back by depriving the devs of that money because somebody realizes this isn't the game for them. And I think that's why people will go and do a lot of negative reviews, is they're hoping to get their money's worth by essentially, making somebody else not buy it. And so I think that's where some of this is, So I think that's why there's been a lot of negativity of like low hour players lately. It's just, it was never the game for them. They had their own desires and ideas what the game would be. It wasn't that, and they got pissed off about it. It's like Star Citizen. Star Citizen left me behind a long time ago because I think they've done some unethical business practices in their marketing at the very least. But they sold me a game which is not the game they're making. And that's why I'm a little pissed off about Star Citizen was they threw out words like, oh, this is going to be a sim, and this is going to be in the game, and you can play solo if you wanted. I have no desire to go out there in a multiplayer world and deal with a bunch of moes who are like just doing silly nonsense and spending hours and hours trying to trade materials, and then I get killed by a pirate who just wants to ruin somebody's day. I have no interest in that. And so one of the things that I was sold on with that game was the ability to play solo like I did in Elite Dangerous. And that's no longer the plan. Or that's coming eventually, and it's only going to take 20 more years to do. And so that's kind of my disgruntled part on there. And, so I kind of think of my own disgruntled nature with like games like Star Citizen when I think of this. And it's like, for me, I mostly moved on from Star Citizen. Like, I don't let it run my life anymore. But it's like, I think that is true money grab, deceptive practice stuff, and this stuff is, like, not. I think that, you don't have to do too much research into this game to understand what it is. I think there are some content creators who portray this game to be something that it's not, and then those people come in and they're like, oh my god, I thought I could just quickly build the Titanic and go sink it, and it's gonna take me 1,000 hours to build the Titanic. Yeah, and that's what the game always was, but just you didn't do enough research to understand that's what the game's all about. Mountain View here. I'm very excited about space, but wonder if it will split the community. The DLC will be a game changer and look like a different game, in my opinion. I don't know if it will split the community. Multiplayer. I don't speak to multiplayer much. I don't play multiplayer, but there are like multiplayer servers who I don't know how they're going to control that, if they'll do that. You could say that like a multiplayer game can easily split the community. Like for example, Battlefield 4, if you didn't buy the latest Battlefield DLC, you'd go on a server and you'd be playing, say, Conquest Large or whatever it was called, and the next map wouldn't load because you didn't buy the DLC. I think that's a true split of the community. I think there is going to be problems where, say, like a couple friends want to play and one of them wants to go to the moon, the other one didn't have it. Well, if I have a friend who wants to play Escape from Tarkov with me and they didn't buy Escape from Tarkov, well, guess what? If they want to play with me, they have to go buy Escape from Tarkov. It's like, I get it. But I don't know how much it's going to split the community. I think one of the benefits of space being literally a far-flung place is it's not like, say, Industrial Frontier, where it's literally a couple kilometers away from the Sawyer Islands. So, it's right there, but you can't get there. Like space is like you legitimately have to build a spaceship, you have to launch it, you have to go, what did it take them, like 10 minutes? 20 minutes, they said. It'll take you 20 minutes to get from the ground to the moon, which I think is a reasonable amount of time. That's about how long it takes me to get to the Arctic. And, so it's far-flung enough that I don't think it's going to split it too much. I understand what you're saying, but, it's kind of, I don't think it's going to be that bad on that. I think it's going to bring in a lot of new people who keep the game going. They said that we're not going to be able to mine the moon. For some reason, Deltar sounds surprised like we'd ever want that. For me, it sounds obvious. Again, if I want them to, I want to be able to mine things on the moon. They said that's currently not in there, and they intimated like they didn't even think about that. That's pretty obvious that we would want to be mining the moon. I don't know why they didn't think of that. But again, I want it. I should do a write up on it. I should put in a feature request and include it in the videos. That's the only way it's going to get done is if people request it. So, if you want that, we need to request it, I think. But it would be very cool. That's something I would love is mining the moon. It looks like there's going to be some reasonable missions in there. One of the things in the DLC they showed was as we were going up the space station, you could see part of it was damaged. We already get those damage missions. Go here, and repair part. And so I think we'll get some of those, and they'll be a little bit more engaged. Where, for example, because we're now going to have the pressurized gas system. I would say that you're going to go up to that space station, and it may be depressurized, and because it's depressurized, they may be running out of oxygen, so you have to go rescue these people, get them out of there, repair some stuff. There could be new cool transport missions where of course I have no idea, but there could be new cool transport missions where you have to transport people from the ground up to the space station. That would be kind of cool. So there's a bunch of stuff there I think they could do. We'll see what actually comes out of it, but I definitely think there's a lot that could be cool that could come from this. So we shall see. I certainly don't have any insight into it. You can go to open space. You're not limited to the moon. There's no loading screen. So you physically go from there. I think it's a straight line. That's not unusual. It doesn't surprise me. It's pretty much a straight shot to the moon. You just aim at it. And they talked about they can't make it too complicated. They don't want to make it too complicated. They want to make it approachable. And so part of that is, you're pretty much going to aim your spaceship at the moon and keep going towards the moon, and eventually you'll get to the moon. And then you want to go back to the Earth. You're going to face the Earth, and you keep going to the Earth until you get to the Earth. So it's pretty simple there. They said it is physicalized between. It's actual physicalized space, so you can just go out there. And you want to go out there and hang, you want to go put out a space station, I assume you can, but again, we won't know for sure until we see it. But there were space stations out there. And, worst case, you fire up the add-on editor and you put one in there. They said there's a moon map as well, so. I don't know. There's going to be would assume there's going to be a limitation or how far you can go. But I don't know how big, it's empty space. There probably could be a lot of it, but. Oh, let me see. I'm just reading some chat. I'm trying to catch back up. The stream like slides on me. There we go. Yep, that's usually when it's more like he sees me in a tense situation. He wants to come sit with me. It's like, dude, I am like getting attacked in Tarkov, and then after he eats, he likes to lay on my arm. So he's like laying on my arm as I'm trying to like shoot at things, and then he starts whipping the keyboard with his tail. I'm like, dude, just go lay in your bed. But yeah, metallic colors would be cool. You know what I would love to see in not Stormworks 2? I think they have it in. I think War Thunder does this. There are a bunch of games that do this. What they do is decals. And so what you do is you paint on a flat surface what you want. So like say you bring up a utility. So say right here is the decal window, right? You click on decal. Let's save this. I haven't saved this freaking thing in a long time. All right, so say that there's a decal button right here, and you click on decal. It brings up a big screen, and it has pixels, right? Pixels, pixels, pixels. And you can import a picture, and it puts that on there. You can also draw, edit all the pixels, kind of like paint blocks, but it's all it does is put a utility over you, right? You do that, and then what you do is you you click on the sticker you want, the decal, and now you drag it and you can put it over anywhere you want on the vehicle and it conforms to the shape. There are a bunch of games that do that, where if you try to put a sticker on, if I move the sticker over here, it's going to be right on the flat surface. If I move it over here, it will bend and it will sit over here. We used to do this with Farming Sim, where there were actually flat transparencies. And so you could put like I say, a John Deere decal right here. And that one was more of a pain in the ass. It wasn't as user friendly. You had to like physically put it there, and it would actually sit over it, and it had no collision, so it wasn't going to cause problems. But you could put decals on. I would love it if they would do that in the next Stormworks, or even for this one. I doubt it, but where you essentially have a decal. And so instead of doing paint blocks, like I want to do like something around here. Like for example, I want to put a line here, which would be the bend line for the tilt cab, where the cab is separated from the chassis. And so what I would want to do is I would draw this grill, and then I would draw a line across here, and then when I put it in position, it would bend and it would allow me to essentially paint anywhere. And so the way it would work is you can't put a block in the same spot because of a collision, but these would be essentially masks with no collisions, and they would you just drag the decal over. That would be awesome. That way you could really put detail everywhere. I think that would be a great feature. Yep, I think it's important to make the space stuff work, cost something, and then give you a real reason to go up there. All the missions pay out really well. I think that's a good way to get people interested in it too, is if the missions going up to space, as they should, result in huge, huge profits, or not even huge profits, but like big money. Like if you do it well, you get big money. If you crash your spaceship, you're in deep crap. But Godzilla, that would probably be the only monster I'd want in this game is Gojira. Gojira. It's got to be Shin Godzilla, not the big fat American Godzilla. Connor trying to nuke them from orbit. That's the only way to be sure. I think you can. I think you could pick fish up in game. I think people are doing it. I don't have physicalized fish turned on right now, but I think people are picking them up. Yeah. Are they just physicalized, or can you pick them up? I can't remember. But that wouldn't be it. We already can pick up dogs. It wouldn't be hard to add to make it so you can pick up the fish. The other thing that a lot of games do is they call it a rabbit hole. The Sims did this. So like when you go into work, right, you open the door, you walk in, well, your character goes into a rabbit hole. There's nothing in there, right? Your character just disappeared, but all the things, all the actions happen in there. And so what a lot of these games will do that I think they could do with fishing is, okay, you have, let's say you have a fish finder. It tells you this is a green zone, which means lots of fish. You go drop your pots. So you take your cage. Maybe it's a pre-made cage. They have different size cages. They have small, medium, large. Small ones you can handle by hand. Mediums you need a small crane. Large you need a big crane. And you need to make your own buoy, right? So it has a rope anchor on one end for a buoy. You put a buoy on there. Like I want to put a buoy that only lights up at night and flashes. Night and flashes. So you need to put a clock and a microcontroller. Cool stuff like that. You soak them in the green water, and over time, it's simple thing. If in green, add one fish every X number of ticks, and then you go out there and you pull up the pot, and it visually looks like the pot's full. So what's it do? It deletes a fish from the environment, and it puts a number in the pot, and now you have that number of fish in the pot, just like we do with coal, right? Yet the coal disappears, but it's then counted as coal in the hopper. And you put a visual element where it looks like there's some fish in the pot. They might not move. It just looks like there's fish in the pot. As the pot gets fuller, it looks like there's more fish. And then what you do is you put it over your hold, which is just another hopper. And now this hopper same hoppers we already have is fine. And this hopper will hold fish. And so you open up the door, the fish fall out, and then up a couple fall on the deck. Just like coal, you have to pick them up, throw them in the hopper. And now the fish have been transferred to your hopper, and you can put the pot back in the water, or you can store it on board to go put them away. So I think that would be a cool way to do fishing. That would be how I'd want to do it. Yeah, I review very few games. I need to do the review for this game. I'll wait till 5,000 hours. I'm almost there. Then I'll do it. Yeah, there are games where like 10 hours, like the game is like a 10-hour game. But this is a game, again, you can play for thousands, thousand hours. Like, Sky has 7,000 hours. I have 5,000 hours. A lot of people have thousands of hours. Tons and tons of people on the main Discord. You can get the Stormworks role if you have over 1,000 hours. A lot of people have it. And it's like that's when like people are like, oh, it's a money grab. It's like, yeah, if you played 100 hours and you bought the game and not knowing what the game was, or you planned it to be this super duper search and rescue game, I can get that. But you paid, what do you pay? $24 for 100 hours of entertainment? Like, what other entertainment can you get for that cost? Nothing. You can't get food for that. You can go sit out in a park somewhere and get melanoma for that, but that's about it. It's like there's not much that's that cheap. So I think people, there's a perspective issue sometimes. It's like, like I said, I spent $20 on pizza. In three pizzas, I've spent more than I've spent on this game, and they certainly didn't give me 5,000 hours of entertainment. So I think that's kind of the thing is I think there needs to be a little bit of perspective sometimes. One thing I've seen a lot too is some of the quote unquote negative commentary after the DLC was announced was, oh, they should just focus on search and rescue. I was sold a search and rescue game. They never expanded on search and rescue, and a lot of the people have responded the same way I would. Is like, what else would you like them to add? Like they added oil, right? They added oil spills. That's a search and rescue thing. So that was for you guys. That was for you search and rescue guys who wanted more search and rescue stuff to do. That was for you guys. The oil spills. But what else do you want? I like legitimately don't know what else they want. It's like, what else would you want for search and rescue? It's like, I'm in trouble. I activated my transponder. You find me. You rescue me. Okay, that's search and rescue. There are other things search and rescue does, but it's like it's not that deep of a well. What else do you want them to put in the game? I literally don't get it. And it confuses me when they're like, oh, they should just improve the search and rescue. I'm like, and do what? Like, what do you want? Like, tell me your perfect mission. When the call comes in for you to go do a rescue, tell me what that looks like. I'm very interested. I'd love to hear it. Maybe I'll agree with it, but it's like, tell me what you want from that. I just don't, like, I don't get how, I don't get what else they want out of the search and rescue element of the game. And I do a lot of search and rescue. 5,000 hours, you see how much I do search and rescue compared to a lot of people, and I do a lot of search and rescue, and I don't know how you'd make that deeper. I really don't, or much deeper. I'm just reading some more chat. Yep, you see a lot of people come in, they get frustrated. The game can be frustrating coming in. It can be very daunting, it can be overwhelming, but you have to come in the mindset which again, a lot of people they build up a hype in their head and they think they're buying a product they're not buying. That's one of the problems. Is I'm not picking on this type of gameplay, I'm not picking on this type of content, but like you have that type of like if it has Kraken in the title or Sinking Ship or Titanic in the title, that's a type of gameplay, and that's fine. People like that. I'm glad they like that. They support the game that I like. Great. But a lot of them come in thinking that that is what the purpose of the game is, and so they come in, and their favorite YouTuber who plays that way has not explained, hey, man, I know you guys like to watch me sink this Titanic and, swirl down a whirlpool and be eaten by the shark and all this other stuff. This is how you do that. I would love them to do that. Take care of your own community and go through them and say, this is what this is how, this Titanic, I didn't build this Titanic. It's not in game. This was built by this person. And this is how you get the Titanic in game. This is how you sink it. That's what I would like to see happen. And the problem is you'll get some of those people who that's all they want to do because they think that's what the game is. And they haven't really received any guidance from the people essentially selling them that product, and then they blame the game for it. It's like, it's not the game's fault. The the devs didn't say that this is what that game was. The person you watch said that. So it's also, you got to kind of, where was the source that sold you this type of gameplay, and were they right? So I think that's something that, is another reason why some people get jaded after a very short period of time, is they didn't expect this to be an incredibly complex building game. They expected it to be, like somebody, there were a couple people asked in Steam, and I answered them where it was like, oh, how do I activate sinking ship? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, I would like to do sinking ship like I saw on YouTube. How do you do that? I'm like, you go in the workshop and you download a ship and you follow the instructions and you sink it. And they're like, oh, it's not just in the game? It's like, no. And it's like, oh, I thought that's what was just in the game. It's like, nope. And you can tell that the people who they watched didn't, they didn't explain that to them, that that's what, the game is or is not about, so that's kind of, and that's not the dev's fault. It's people, choosing a gameplay, or choosing a type of gameplay that they can do in this game, but it's not what it was intended for, and that's, that's not on the devs either. I'm just reading some chat here. All right, we'll see you later there, FS Gamer. Just saw your message there. You're heading out. Thanks for hanging out. Yep, I've yet to play Trailmakers, but the decal system would be awesome, man. It would be really cool. There are so many games, like TF2 had sprays, stuff like that. The ability to just like paint wherever I want, and that would not surprise me if that's something they would add in a new game. It's very hard, I would say, to add it to a game like this right now. And plus, one thing a lot of people aren't thinking is they have to consider how much is this going to cost us in development time, which is money. Right? You're paying people salaries, that's money. And so you say, how much money is this going to cost us to put this feature in, and is this marketable? So what I mean by that is, if we spend 100 dev hours, and because of health and welfare and all these other benefits, that costs us X number of dollars, are we going to get that money back? And again, people think that it's a charity or expect it to be a charity. It's a business. They have to make a profit. And they should make a profit. And so it's like, that's what the devs have to ask. And so like some of these things that don't come in, it's like, it's because that's not profitable, and some people need to understand that's why that feature didn't come in. That's why that's not getting worked on, is that is not profitable. They need to go after what's profitable, or else the company doesn't exist anymore. Checking up on chat again. But yeah, decals would be really cool. So that would be cool in not Stormworks 2. Yeah, the subreddit's nuts right now. Hello, Mr. G. How's it going? Can I touch on how the bow stern stabilizers work on your race boat? Sure. I'll go look at it. So let me take a quick drive with this truck, and then I'll go do that. I need a little break from the truck. I'm enjoying it, but we're getting to a good point with it. So I like the paint job. I might do more of this. Like, I often do stripes. This is kind of nice having it, like, just 3 tones, essentially. But this is looking good. I'm liking this. What do you guys think of this? I think this is coming along really well. Looks a little more European than I like, but that's the modern European stuff is more rounded. The old stuff was like Macs were pretty rounded. It's just the flat windshield looks very European to me. That looks like was it Iveco or something, but it'll be under the Pat brand probably. But, one of the reasons I want to do this is I want to make sure this chassis is up to spec and everything's working, because this is from the chassis that eventually I'll release. Is it's you see I took the 10-speed chassis and just built a cab on it essentially. And yes, it was built for that door is strong. It was built to be a a standard conventional with a hood, But you can see it didn't take that much work to take it. And so, for example, this is for like, if you don't want to or if you don't care to, you don't have to bother building what makes the truck work. You can just build what makes it look the way you want, and and that's kind of nice. That's why I was doing the chassis. So I like this deck plate better. So you can see the transmission under your deck plate, unless you have a completely obscure deck plate. So that's kind of cool. You often have a shelf under here and kind of a lip in the back. I'm digging this. This is looking good. All right, let's grab the race boat. Pretty much, it's the identical system that I have in every one of my boats at this point, pretty much. Let's grab the vice. All right, so like here's the vice boat. So pretty simple. This tends to be a pretty simple stability system. So for example, this one's a little bit more complicated because it has they're inboard outboard. So these rotate. So this is even harder than a standard system because these will rotate. But you can see just the small number of fins works fine for this. So what you want to do for this is these are incredibly simple. This is an altimeter plugged directly into the fins. The altimeter, doesn't matter if it's facing up or down or whatever, it will do this space right here. And then if we look at the fins have arrows up. So in the back, so generally what I do is in the stern, it's altimeter controlled. And the benefit of this is we have an altimeter for each one. I have one left, right, and center. They're all at the height that I want this boat to sit. So I always want the propeller in the water, so I usually put the altimeter here. If the propellers are coming out of the water, move your altimeters up here. That will sink your stern in a little bit more. Because it's a race boat, I have them skimming as much on the top as I can. And so what this allows you to do is, let's say the boat starts rolling to starboard, it rolls to the right. This altimeter is going to go high. What's it going to do? Cause these fins to go down. It's going to keep the boat flat. Because this is inboard outboard, as I turn, it's going to try to roll the boat. And again, does the same thing. And this is more than enough to keep the stern down, even with the inboard outboard setup. And then in the bow, under this XML block here, you notice I have a bunch of fins. One thing you want to do with the fins up front like this is, if you're going to put them in a line or whatever, like see, look at the ones in the center. It goes facing port, starboard, starboard, port. Alternate these. They will roll your boat. If you did them all facing one direction, it will roll your boat. They're stronger on one side than the other. They give a lifting force. So just alternate them. That will cancel out the lifting force. So there is a lifting force. It will roll the boat if you made them all one orientation. And then these are just opposite. So I have a bunch in this one so that it has a lot of strong downforce. These are all arrow up again. And this system's, actually this one's altimeter controlled too. Interesting. I'm going to change this. Let's change this. So I'll show you the performance here, and then I'll show you the performance when I change it. So if we go back, so that's there. So this is just altimeter control. I actually thought this was more complicated. That's why it came out of the water the other day when I was running it. So. Oh, come on. Save yourself. All right. And then I have to, like, use every finger I have to get this, my engine's revved up. There we go. Alright, so there's about 110 knots. So as you can see, the altimeter's keeping those propellers in the water. And I really don't want the bow doing what it's doing, so I'll fix that. So as I turn, it's inboard, outboard. These are also on the same stability system, essentially, where it's going to make it so that they, they'll turn to a smaller degree because it's angular speed, I think. And so you can see you can do that. And let's get a little wind in here. Try to go up to, we'll go to like 70, and then I'll try 100. We'll probably flip at 100, but where are we going? We have following sea. All right, I don't want a following sea. I want to go into the sea, into the wind. Because into the wind's going to be your worst, because it's trying to pick you up. Okay, and so what we want to actually do is, one of the reasons we're having this problem is the front's not being controlled correctly. So the front needs to be this system. So generally what I'll do with my stability systems is this. I'm going to take a physics sensor because that's pretty much all I use now. All right, and it doesn't matter where you're putting this. Just stick it in there somewhere. So a physics sensor goes in, and then I want a blank microcontroller. All right. And it should be, let's see. It can be as simple as this. We'll do a composite input sensor. Fins. Okay. And then we need to figure out the tilt. Let's see. Should remember it, but I don't. Where is the physics sensor? Where the hell is the physics sensor? Right here. Okay. Physics sensor. So we need to find tilt. I believe it is Z tilt, and so I have actually a rig for this. Let's see. Vice, boat, stab, work. Okay. So I actually have a test rig for this. We'll go look at the test rig. So I just build a... Come on, get out of there. I just build a test rig to remember this. So if you go in here, I have a test rig for the physics sensor. So here's my this is my physics sensor test rig. So if I spawn this, I'm looking for the forward tilt component. So it's either 15 or 16. So we have a tilt sensor here, and we have a physics sensor there. So I'm just going to rotate it. I need to put an electricity on for this. I'm just going to rotate. If you look, they're going, yeah, they're just backwards, but they're going the same number. So if we look at this, it's going to be whatever number that is roll. So the roll number is the tilt. So if we go in there and we're looking for pitch. So we look in here. Roll is, so it shows two, Z and X. So let's spawn it again. I'll show you Z and X. I did label them. Okay. So I labeled these. So if you go and you roll this, you notice they're opposite, but they're the same. So X is our roll, and then Z is our pitch. All right. And we can test that even further by just doing this. We can prove that by just going like this, go spawn, and now the X should be different. Or the Z should be different. Now notice we have a pitch tilt, so we know Z is our pitch tilt. Okay. So Z is our pitch tilt. And then X is our roll tilt. So let's open up the Vice boat again. All right, so if we go and we look at the physics sensor again, so Z is the one we're looking for. So we look on there, we have local Z tilt is 15, local X tilt is 16. So we're looking for 15 for pitch tilt. So we go in here, we're going to read 15. That's why I was having problems with the Vice boat. I didn't fix the stab system. I'm actually going to make this panel one longer so we can put in a p-value for PID. Number input. P-value, okay. And then what we want to do is a PID. And we're going to do a constant. I would personally put this on so it's on your master power. So when you start the boat, that way it's not running the fins, eating up your electricity the whole time. Might need to invert this. We don't know yet, so that's fine there. And then we want to do this p-value. We'll go to the p-value. And actually, this is going to go there. So our process variable will be pitch tilt. We want 0 pitch tilt. P-value will go in, and then I'm just going to do a constant on. Again, you want to make it so it turns on and off so that the fins aren't going the whole time you're sitting there, or else you're going to eat up your battery. All right, that's pretty good. Update that. Go to here, and then we'll go out to all these fins. So I had yet to get the Vice boat finished, so that's why this system is not correct. So this is generally how I do it. I do a tilt on the front. So the front fins control the tilt. It just tries to keep the boat level. And then the rear is altitude. And so I'll show you why I do that. I've talked about it before, but we'll bring up, I'll show you. So if we look at this, so that's a bad color too. There we go. That's better. All right. So if you think about it this way, the waves are coming in from the ocean, and they're like this. Right. So there are your waves of the ocean. Now, in real life, what's going to happen is gravity is going to pull the bow down. So when the boat comes, the boat wants to come it's going to come flat, and then it's going to go up the trough of the wave, and gravity is going to take over, and it's going to come back down the trough of the wave, right? So it's very natural, right? So it goes down the peak into the trough, very natural. And so what would happen is if you had the altimeter on all this, what's going to happen is you're going to go crashing through the wave because the stern wants to stay at 0, the bow wants to stay at 0. At 100% wind, it's a pain because generally, like anywhere under 100%, the troughs don't go below 0. Once you get to 100% wind, the trough will go down even more, and it will go below 0, and then that causes a little bit of weirdness with your propellers coming out of the water. So if you had altimeters on everything, it will try to go blow through the waves, and you don't want that. You want it to come up and over, but you want it to stay glued to the water. And so I find this system works best because what happens is as the boat goes up, right, the back is the altimeter, and so on the back, it wants to always be pointing down, so it wants to stay at 0. So it keeps the stern glued to the waves. It keeps your propellers in the water so that they don't come out. Now, this is going to cause your fins to also push down, but it has a very natural feel. What it does is you have both of them gluing you to the wave, and it feels natural. And then as you come over, what would happen is if you had the tilt sensor doing both the stern and the bow, what would happen is if the boat's tilted like this, it would tell your bow, this is hard to see because the arrow is not really shown, but it would cause the stern to come up and it would cause the bow to go down. And that would cause the propellers to come out of the water and the boat wouldn't work well. And so by doing this system, what's happening is it's keeping the stern down and it's keeping the bow down. Now as you go down the crest of the wave into the trough, this is going to be enormous here. I got to keep changing sizes here. As the boat goes down into the trough, you're still getting the stern wants to come down, stern wants to come down, and the bow wants to go up. So that keeps it from slamming the nose of the boat into the water, and so it acts very naturally. It's kind of simulating floating essentially. And so that's why I do it this way and why it works well. So we need a keypad. We'll keep infinite electricity on so I can just run it. Put this keypad right here. Come on, just paste, ding dong. Put it right there. We'll plug that in there. All right, so that's just our p-value. Everything's plugged in, I think. Physics sensor, you plugged in? Yep, you're plugged in. Okay, good. So we'll spawn this. And now this should work better than it was. Before it was couldn't control that bow. So we'll put in a p-value of 1. I can't remember what I usually put in there, but we'll start with 1. It's usually where I start anyway. So the one of the new player career build series, this is what I go through. I go through the stability system. So you can watch that video too if you have any questions with that. All right, so notice it's lifting my bow up. That means that the pit is inverted. All right, so I was saying that might need an inversion. So we could do two things. One, we could flip all those fins in the bow, or what we could do is we could go in here and we can just put in a -X. I'll do a small one. So if it raised the bow up like that, we know it's working backwards. So just go in here, put a -X, and now it's inverted. Or we could flip all the fins, but I don't want to flip all the fins, so we'll do that. All right, now we'll take it out again. We do have to fix something when we go in reverse, so that's something to consider, which I haven't put that in the vice boat either. The vice boat was mostly, worked on for the videos, and then I haven't been back to it. So, all right, we need to put in a 1 in here. All right, notice, see how it's bobbing the front? So that p-value is probably too high. All right, what's it doing now? Maybe it's too low, actually. We'll see. You start everything up again. Let's put a smaller number in there. I don't know what number I'm normally working with, so I could be way overdoing it or way underdoing it. I don't want to go through all the testing here. So what I usually do is I should have done this already. Let's do this. So I showed this yesterday doing a dial. This is my preferred method to tune in my p-values. So go in with a dial. We'll go ahead and we'll just connect what's going to the fins. So this is giving our fins their information. We plug it in the dial. Now I can tell if the fins are working too hard or they're not working enough. So we'll put a 1 back in there if I can get close enough to do it. I'm going to go slow and watch the dial. So the dial, see it's doing like 0.01, and the bow is coming up. That means that my p-value is too low, right? The fins can go to a maximum value of 1. So let's go to 10. Now it's at 0.12. And it might not be inverted. I might have to actually re-invert it again. So let's go to 100. Okay, so see now it's starting to act much quicker. So let's start to accelerate. So it's not 100. 100 is too high, but notice it's moving very quickly now. So 100 is probably too high. I think I actually used like a number like 45 or 50. I can't remember, but so now notice. So it's gonna keep that bow. The bow is in charge of keeping us flat, and the stern is in charge of keeping the propellers in the water. That's its only job. You start getting issues with the game where you want to do backflips and stupid stuff like that when the props come out of the water. So keeping the props in the water is a good idea. So the altimeter keeps those props in the water where you want, and the bow is kept in the is just all its job is to keep you level. And so what you want to do then is let's turn on some wind. We won't go nuts to start with. We'll do 50%, and we'll go into the wind. Remember that's going to be yep. We're into the wind now. And so you see it's crashing through a little bit, probably because my p-value is too high. You remember I put 100 in there, so let's go 50. And so this will give us a little play. So this will allow, see the bow can come up now. It's allowing the bow to come up a little bit. So instead of crashing through the waves, it's trying to put us a little bit over it, so it's a little bit more natural. And you see it's much more natural now. And so you just kind of play with it and see what number works for you. So if we want a little bit more rise, we could go to, say, 40. And now that gives it a little bit of play. It's not going to respond as quick. There we go. So see, this is a little bit more playful. It's more fun. Gives us a little bit more bounce over the waves. We're actually picking up some speed now. We're over 100 knots. It's bouncing over the waves. It doesn't feel like we're crashing through them. So you just kind of play with that p-value, get that to be where you want, and get the characteristics you want. But notice it's trying to keep the propellers in the water. Well, that's how we're going to keep going fast. Is the propellers come out of the water, we're pushing air, we're not doing anything. But you notice it's behaving itself. But we're in really rough seas, so it should be bouncing around. It's doing that. Before, again, let's bring this back up to 100. You notice it was going very flat through the water, and it's super boring. See how boring that is? Not only is it unrealistic, it's just boring. Like, it stays perfectly flat. That's boring. Now go to 40, and you'll see how much more fun and playful it is. See, it wants to go up and over the waves now. It doesn't want to crash through them. See, it bounces a little bit. You're starting to get some play out of it. It feels like you're out in rough seas and not just like in some magic vehicle that can just dive through waves. See, like it tries to go up and over. See, we get some jumps on there. And then it finally will fail at some point if you're crazy. But what would you do in real life? Would you be out there in this bad of conditions going 100 knots? No. You'd pull your throttles back. So if you want that not to happen, you'd probably increase that, maybe 50. So pretty simple system there. One thing you want to add there is, though, you want to do this. I talk about this in the new player career build series. Is you want to do this as well. Shut off this wind for now. You can see how I could, and if you want it really super stable like that, keep it at 100, and it probably wouldn't have done the backflip because the fins would have responded quick enough to keep the bow down, but I wanted more playfulness. So what I would do is I'd also add in my anti-fly system. So if the if the tilt sensor, for example, in this case, if the tilt sensor goes over a certain number, what's it do? Reduce the thrust. It just pushes the thrust down for you like you do in real life. You wouldn't be driving around like that at full speed. You know, if you watch boat racing, they will do backflips because they get going so fast, they crest up over a wave, and now they're airborne. They have no way to control their pitch in the air, only in the water, and they do a backflip. So, but you know, if that was at 100, it would be perfectly fine. So one thing you want to add on here is you want to look at the, where the hell is it? You want to look at this, and you want to find linear velocity. It's 9. Z is forward back. So you want 9. And what you want to do here is simple. You come in here, and so when you're going forward, the fins are going to move in one orientation to keep the bow level, right? If you go backwards, it's going to drag that bow underwater because the fins need to work opposite when you're going backwards. So all you do is quickly numerical switch box. You come in here. You would go, where do we want to do here? Yeah, you go there. And so essentially what you're doing is, oh, get out of there, you. So you can do it either way, but we'll do it this way. So in normal operation, we're going to go -x right here. Normal operations, -x. And then what you would do over here is you would go read a number. Channel 9 is your speed, is your linear speed, forward, back, channel 9. You go like that, and then you want to do, if it's less than 0, you want to invert the signal. So if it's less than 0, you want the fins to operate backwards. Pretty simple. So now you're backing up, and the fins will work opposite. You need to do that on the back as well. So generally what I'll do is for these, instead of feeding them raw data from the altimeters, if I can ever find it. So instead of going directly to the altimeters, the problem is if I go in reverse, it's going to pull my stern under. We can even test it. And so all you do is the same thing. You hook it up so that if the speed is less than 0, you invert the signal of those of the altimeters. So for example, if we start this up, I'll just go 1 screw. Just go center screw here. If I go backwards, it's going to try to pull my stern underwater. It's going to be hard to see with just 1 screw going, but like, can we see the fins? So see the fins? See how the fins are going up? That's going to drag the stern of the boat underwater. So what you want to do is in reverse, you'd want to do the opposite. You want the fins inverted. Same thing. So in reverse, you need to invert your fins. So it's just the same as that. You just plug all your altimeters in. You can do 1 microcontroller, spit out, you know, port starboard generally. But that's how I do it. So go ahead and watch one of the New Player Career Build series. I go through all of that. So does that work for you, Aaron? Yeah, just let me know if that makes sense, Aaron. I'll check. I see you put a comment down there. I'm just trying to catch up with everybody too. Yeah, the paint definitely helps. That's one reason I don't like doing the paint too early. Is you know, I want to make sure it works right first, because you know, you start getting into it, you like the way it looks, and then you change that because if something doesn't work, it sucks. And then I kind of like to go in the paint. So I'm glad you guys like the paint. I think that looks cool. Yeah, EU oldies are, some of the old like Scanias are really nice and rounded. Good. I'm glad you guys like the colors. I've never driven a Scania. I've always liked the Scanias. I always liked the look of the DAFs. The DAFs always looked, they always look beefy and menacing. I like MANs. I would like to drive a MAN or a Mercedes. We'll see you later there, Connor. Which arrow facing forward on sensor? Stream lag. Okay. With the, pretty much, I always set the physics sensor up like this. Never have a problem with it. Blue forward, red to the right, green up. That's the default position. So that's how it always spawns up, to do it like that. Green up, red right, blue forward. Some of the stuff's going to be different than what people are used to because they put the tilt sensor. Some people always put the tilt sensor facing left. Some people always put it right. I think the roll is inverted. Like I used to always go tilt sensor left, I think. And the physics sensor has it right. So all I have to do is invert the number. So it's not a big deal. Sometimes you have to go back there and just invert them. But that's the best system I've found. It gives me the most consistent. Like I was saying before, if you do the tilt sensor and you connect the tilt sensor to both of them, the problem's going to be the bow's going to go down and it's going to stay flat at all times. And so what's going to happen is you're going to go over the wave and the propellers come out of the water, and guess what? You just stop because you have no propulsion anymore. So that system doesn't work. The altimeters keep your drive unit always in the water. This tries to keep you tilted, like I showed you. If you want it a little bit more fun, a little bit more over the waves, you have to essentially let it lift a little bit. And so it responds slower. It goes over the waves. It's kind of bouncy. It's fun. But you notice what that fun cost us. Eventually, it got so much air it went up and it went over. And so, I will often put a kill switch in there or a anti-fly. Do I have anti-fly in here somewhere? Let me see if I can find anti-fly. Anti-flap. That's anti-flap. I have anti-fly and a bunch of stuff. I think, does the speedboat have anti-fly? Let me look. Some of the stuff I put anti-fly in. And so, let's see if I can find it. So all anti-fly is super simple. It's, if it's going to fly, what's happening when your boat's trying to fly is, let me quickly grab this before I forget to save it. Just save this really quick. I've been meaning to do that work on it. So I'll do it on this again. Anti-fly is simple. You have to have a condition when you want it to reduce your power, essentially. And so in this, probably the best thing to do is reduce the power when you get a certain tilt angle. And so you kind of have to decide, where is it showing me on tilt angle? You could go put out a thing and you say, okay, you go into the motors. Where are my motors here? Right here. So you go into your motors, and pretty simple, like this is how I control my thrust, right? So I go down in the thrust if I press the S key, right? That's how I reduce my thrust. So what you do is you put another oar in there. So there's two components. One, I have a physicalized button in there I can use. I also do the S key. And then you just do a Boolean or another oar, and you say, or tilt sensor is greater than X. And if the tilt sensor is greater than that, what it will do is this is as though you were pulling back the thrust IRL. And so what happens in real life is what happens if you start getting too much air in a boat in real life, you start pulling the thrust back really quickly. You grab the throttles, you pull them back. And so all the anti-fly system does is it does that for you instantly. And generally what it will do is slow the boat down enough that it will not do a backflip. And then because it's pressing down on the throttle, as soon as the tilt sensor gets back under that set value, it stops pressing down. Well, guess what you can do? You can press back up if you want. So, and then if it does it again, it auto presses it down. So it just auto controls that throttle so that you can't fly. So I have, I think Remora has an anti-fly on it. Yeah, I think Remora has anti-fly on it. Let me look. That's pretty simple. It's a really simple system. So where are we at here? Should be one of these mini oars. I didn't go to booleans at that point. Oars there. Channel 2. Trying to find this. What the hell is this? Trying to find something. I had, I know I had one with an anti-fly in it that I'm trying to remember. One of my speedboats, I definitely put it in there. I was trying to think. Maybe a center console I had. I remember what it looks like. I'll see it. Yeah, it was a center console. I think that would be too easy if I named it the right thing. Yeah, I put so that's all it does is when you reach that thing, the other thing you do is put a water sensor on. If the bow comes out, it will gently tap down the thrust. I don't tend to like that, but that's how the anti-fly works. It reduces the throttle like you would in real life, and it does it quickly so that you avoid doing a backflip and screwing yourself all up. And so it just quickly pulls the thrust back. You survive and you move on with your day, and you just push it back up if you want. And so it doesn't really cost you. I do the same thing for overtemp sometimes. For example, I think the Hummingbird if it gets over like 110 degrees, it will automatically bring my thrust back. It just pushes it down. It's like, hey man, you're going to overheat. It pulls it back. It stops the heat. It stops the thrust going back as soon as you drop below 100 degrees. Or I think it's even on a delta. I think it's on a delta. So if the delta, if it's two conditions. If it's over 110 degrees and the delta is positive, it will start to pull the thrust back. As soon as the delta goes below positive, i.e. the temperature's coming back down, it will then stop pulling your thrust back. So it automatically will reduce your thrust so you don't overheat. So same type of system. It's just does it with with flying. So I recommend putting an anti-fly on there. It just saves you from like you're out there doing a mission, you're doing all right. Like you saw, we were doing fine, we're having fun, and then one big wave and we went over, and it's like crap. Now we're stuck out here, you know. If you were in a career game, so the anti-fly is good for saving you from having that issue. I'm trying to see. I know I have one here. I don't think I named this boat. This was an old boat, but I know it has an anti-fly in it. I put it on a lot of stuff, but I just can't remember where it is. Oh my god, I got a lot of crap. Lots and lots and lots and crap. Lots and crap and lots and crap. What did I call it? Skiff? I was calling everything skiff for a little while. There it is, right here. It's skiff. I was calling literally everything skiff. New skiff engine work right here. So this has an anti-fly on it. So where are we at? Somewhere here. The other way you can do it is I might have an interrupter on there. We'll see. What the hell is the anti-fly? I know this has anti-fly on it. I can't remember where the hell it is though. It's in here somewhere. So yeah, it's a simple system. All you're doing is you're reducing the thrust when you tilt up too much. Essentially, it's like, yep, we're going over, and it's like pull the thrust back, and usually that saves you. Because the the front of the boat wants to come up, and the screws are still pushing you forwards, which is making it worse. So now, as soon as the screws stop pushing you forward, the bow can drop back down. So it's like doing a wheelie on a motorcycle. You know, you're there it is right here, anti-fly. So this anti-fly here, what it does is this one's a little bit less refined. What this does is you either have this one's a mess. This one I don't use anymore. Essentially what this does is it chops it down to 5 RPS. And so it just is like, nope. And so it cuts your speed, it cuts your RPS down to 5 whenever you jump over a wave. So like here, we'll spawn the sucker. I haven't used this boat in forever, so no clue what state it's in. But this one has the anti-fly in it. It's pretty simple. I like this boat. I don't know why I stopped using it. Alright, so like here, let's go. Oh, 1 and 2. This is old. I use 1 and 2 for my throttle. Yeah, I could get back in this boat. This boat looks the part. It's runs really well. So, for example, like let's get this wind on. So you just heard it. This one's all messed up. This one's messed up. But see, it cut the thrust. See it. Listen to it. It raises the thrust and then it flies and it cuts the thrust. It's so light that at 100% wind anything's gonna fly. But see, it cut the thrust. See how it just flutters back down. So that's the anti-fly system. Is it just you came out of the water, you tilted too much, and it's like, okay, less thrust for you. And it's like you would do in real life. You pull the thrust back. You know, I've jumped a couple big waves in real life back when we were in college, and first thing everybody does is yank the thrust back because, you know, you slam and you break your spine. It's miserable. And so you just give it a little break, you know, and cut back the thrust a little bit. But pretty simple system there. All right, let me read some chat, and I think I'm going to wrap it up. Yep, never driven a Scania. A Scania DAF would be cool. I've never driven any European tractors, but a lot of them are really cool. Love to see that. I don't have a gyroscope. What do you mean, Exorus? When I back up, I do that system in reverse. So the fins now work backwards. So when you back up, the the tilt fins are just inverted. So normally in the example I showed, they would get a negative X from the PID, and then when I go backwards, so when the linear speed is less than, oh, okay, I think I already answered your question, but when, yeah, when you're going backwards, the speed is less than 0, so it would then switch it to an X. And so the fins work backwards. And then same thing with the altimeters. You plug the altimeters into a panel, and you read the X from the altimeters, and then when you go backwards, when the speed's less than 0, you read a negative X to the fins, and it will it inverts them. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Got some good stuff done. You know, Triton, bunch of work on Triton. That was fun. I enjoyed that. The cab over is coming along really well. Very little left to do in that, so that's fun. New toy to play with. Yep, so hope you guys enjoy that, and I'll see you in the next one.